unmute this. Okay, hello everyone. Chat, how are we doing tonight?
Slammed.
Hello everyone.
Smacked my pop filter.
Oh
so
no.
hard.
Well, if you have like any like filters on the sound, I did not hear it whatsoever. But hello, everyone. Welcome to another very, very exciting episode with Kurohitsuki. We are going over the Commanders bracket. That's what I'm calling it here. This is more, or not more, but like this is not just, hey, let's get a tier list and say like which bracket is better or anything like that. This is a casual discussion with a member of the Commanders Rules Advisory, as well as the, honestly, world over famous Rachel Weeks. And yeah, we're going to basically give our own personal takes on if we sit down at a Commander pod and someone sits down and just says, boom, I'm running Dragon, I'm running Urza, Kalia. We are going to be like, okay, like for what we know, our pass with Kalia decks, our pass with Dragon decks, Urza decks, we need to have an X amount bracket deck that we're gonna run with, because there's no way our bracket 2s, the removal that's available in a precon is not going to be adequate for the removal that is available there that we'll need for a lot of these decks here. But thank you very much. But some of the decks that we will run into are, you know, even, of course, you can always build a bracket 5 version of whatever you want, right? But on average, if someone is really saying that they're gonna be here with their, say, like, honestly, even a Saskia deck, right? We'll kind of cover that later, but like even a Saskia deck, there's still realms where that's just like maybe just someone's like Ladies Looking Left's tier 1 deck. So at the very least, that might be more questionable. But that's at least a discussion that we will have. So let me just click one more final button here, and then we will be good to go. But first, we're going to go over what each and every individual bracket kind of like means to us in terms of like, do we need X amount of removal? And especially if we consider intent. I think intent is a large portion of what actually makes the bracket system what it is. It's not an actual, hey, do not do not pass go if you have this card or this card, because there's just no way that it could ever be considered a bracket 3. It has to be a 5 if you have the 1 ring. And it's like, no, that's not entirely true. You could just be doing Lord of the Rings typo, and in that case, hey, we still might be in a different realm. So the bracket system, and you know, thank you very much for your work on it, Rachel, and especially your efforts in making it more like applicable to different type of decks, and also just explaining it. I think amongst any creator, especially who's a part of the actual rules committee, you do a lot, especially on social media, to explain what you mean, what the community please go ahead.
I mean, the bracket system isn't perfect. It's still in beta. We have a lot of changes that we'd like to make. We got some good feedback from the community on it. And, you know, the only thing I can say is how I interpret the bracket system, but there's 18 people who were a part of making this and had like contributed to the different ways that they think of the game changers list and that kind of thing. So I do my best to try and communicate how I see it and how I think about it, because I think, you know, it should be more objective and it should help people to get into the right bucket is kind of how I think about it. Like a lot of people look at the brackets and are hoping they're going to get a perfect matchup, where it's like, oh, if I play against 3s, there's going to be a perfect 3. Like there's an exact, you know, ideal 3, and all of our decks will be equally matched and we'll have a perfect game. But within any bucket, there's a range of power levels. There's a range of good and bad matchups. There's a range of intent. So we're just hoping to get you in the right ballpark so you don't have like wildly mismatched games of Commander, which we've all been a part of and are not particularly fun or interesting. So hopefully, you know, And like we're looking at commanders, we're talking about the average, we're talking about what we'd expect from these things. But I think most commanders can be built in a way that's 1 through 4. 5 is sort of requires its own meta considerations. But
Yeah.
the average.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. Especially like 5. I even on my stream I have like I have a particular taste on just like CDH and just like the bracket 5 and kind of where that falls in line with just the rest of the commander zone. But honestly, each and every one of these is extremely important. I would say actually bracket 1 is, I think, one of the most important and impactful things that you've taken the time to define. Because
I'm glad you think so.
Yeah, 100%. Bracket 1, and I'm really glad that bracket 1 was not pre-con. That's also something I have always wanted to say. I'm glad that bracket 1 was not the pre-con floor. It was a much more explanatory floor of, honestly, what I think is the backbone, or at least the earlier backbone of the commander format, which is just people being able to take whatever theme they wanted, whatever part of Magic they enjoyed the most, whether it's at that moment, whether it's the entire game, whatever it is, and they can build something with it where they don't have to, follow a line with like a standard meta or a modern meta or something like that. You can take Ladies Looking Left and do something with it, and that is a good time for everyone.
Yeah, I think like with the growth of Universes Beyond, we're seeing even more fully thematic cards that are like, I am only building with cards inside of the Assassin's Creed universe.
Right.
That's a huge limitation to put on your deck, and that's for like aesthetic flavor reasons. And it's fun to play those decks against each other and see those worlds kind of collide. But so I think there's a place for bracket 1. It is definitely the least popular bracket, but I think it's nice to carve out a spot where it says you can do this with Commander, this isn't wrong, and help facilitate some of those matches to actually happen.
I would heavily agree. So if we could go through the brackets, basically our personal takes in terms of like what games we're expecting per bracket. So on like say bracket 1 right here, what type of deck do you own where you're like, okay, at a bracket 1 table, this is what I'll be bringing out?
I have a 5-color horse deck that is every
Wonderful.
card in the deck. It has a picture of a horse on it, including the removal. Not the lands. Some of the lands have horses on them, but there just aren't that many lands with horses on them.
There's just not that many, no.
Yeah. So for the most part, that deck is my bracket 1 mess. It has a lot of silver bordered cards in it. It has all the My Little Pony things. So that's where I think about bracket 1. It's got a heavy limitation. It's more of a like stylistic, artistic expression where you're like, look, I just really like, this is my vibe, and I really want to I really want to make that with Magic cards and have it exist in the world. So I only really have that one that I would consider bracket 1, but it's one of my favorite decks to play. So,
all right, so that's one where so bracket 1. If someone does sit down and have a bracket 1 deck, even without really specifically saying like, before the further discussion of what type of deck you're wanting to have, you'll at least put this forward, like, okay, yeah, I think this is where I could do a horse deck. Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right, and then over to bracket 2. So this is the pre-con. More where like the pre-cons go. Do you have a deck that you've specifically built that you feel is bracket 2, or are you just pulling out a pre-con?
I don't often play with sealed pre-cons. I'm a brewer. I like to build decks. Yeah. So it's more fun for me if I play something that I put together. But the way I think about bracket 2 is slightly lower card quality. So not everything is like is the perfect one, the most efficient one. You're not necessarily considering curve when you put things together. There's some considerations, but and I think the most important thing about bracket 2 for me is that the wins are incremental and telegraphed.
Right.
There's obviously no combos, there's no game changers, that kind of thing, all the stuff that's listed in the brackets. But in a bracket 2 game, you should expect to recognize when someone is the problem before they win the game.
Okay.
So,
okay.
it's one of those things where you're like, I see it coming, and I have this moment where I have time to disrupt you before you like cast Torment of Hailfire out of nowhere and the game is over. Most of bracket 2 games are in my head, they're a little bit more narrative, they're a little bit more the rise of one player leads to like everyone taking over the table and it's much slower and predictable, I think. So my bracket 2 decks, I have a tough time with building bracket 2 because I often find that I like to build with such synergy that just sort of shoves it up a bracket a little bit. But I think of my Norin stickers deck as a bracket 2 deck. It's very slow to win. It's very telegraphed, and it's sort of busy with this other problem of getting a sticker onto Norin the Wary.
And keeping it, I imagine.
It stays on. Once you get a sticker on him,
it stays on. Okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's a bitch to get a sticker on him, but once it's there, that's pretty good.
That's super cool. Okay.
Yeah, so I think of that one as a bracket 2 list, and then I've got what was the other one that I was looking at the other day? I have an Eloise deck. That is blue-black, like clues and stuff. Yeah. And it's pretty slow, and Eloise is pretty bad, but I tried to keep it thematic to, like, she's a detective and makes the clues and will follow the footprints and that kind of thing. So that one is definitely has different breaks on it to make sure that it is not going to explode out of nowhere. The other one is Nashi. I've got a mono black Nashi deck.
That is okay. Yeah.
So this is like a life having deck. It's like a mono black sort of Voltron deck. So I'm trying to drain my opponents with myself.
Right.
Instead of gaining a ton of life, I'm like, okay, you're all coming down with me, and it's pretty easy to pick apart, and but I can do some really cool stuff. So I like that deck a lot too.
Nice. Yeah, I would say, I think like my Doctor Who like 10th Doctor deck is I think maybe where I would actually throw like precon level. It does have like the 1 or 2 infinites you can get with suspend, but like you see it coming for like 3 turns straight. So it's right.
I'm literally counting down to it.
Exactly. It's an exploration of the suspend mechanic, which is something that precons let us do, right? Whether you're adding new cards or you're just bringing back some, old, reprinting older cards to say, hey, remember this mechanic? We didn't quite finish it. Here's like 2 little sprinkles, maybe 3, to help maybe like make that commander playable. And now you can start the gears running for players who were familiar with suspend, never knew about it, etc. Precons are really good for Wizards to be able to kind of inject or re-inject that into the format. So that would be my 10th Doctor deck. Next up, we have upgraded bracket 3, and this is actually where you helped me the most in kind of figuring out, because in my mind, for the longest, it was just like, hey, this is upgraded precons, right? So like that's kind of where I put my 10th Doctor. It's like, okay, the moment you have a precon and you start injecting like real cards into it, it is a different game. You're a different bracket now. But I always felt that, well, there's still just such a big gap between upgraded precon and 4. Like that just feels like the biggest gulf, right? But you helped explain a lot more. So if you could hear again.
Yeah, I'd be happy to. I think part of that confusion comes from our naming. Calling it upgraded is definitely misleading. I think we thought about it in terms of like, it is actively upgraded. You have put real cards into it. You are trying to step things up a bit. We thought of upgraded in the sort of in a vacuum rather than in the Magic context, which is a mistake. But upgraded decks is when things start to get powerful. There's up to 3 game changers, which is a significant amount of game changers. Things get a little faster. Wins can be a little less telegraphed. You can start to expect some amount of infinite combos or win the game on the spot combos.
Right.
I don't think you would really want to see those things before turn 7. Really where like the ballpark of wins start to happen, I would think is like somewhere between 7 and 9 is when things start to get pretty dicey.
Right.
But these decks are like more tuned, more synergistic. They're designed to hit harder, faster. And you can start to see like big sort of win on the spot type effects, like primal surges, or even like I play Gary, I blink Gary,
Right,
and the game is over, that kind of thing.
Right.
So I think that this is where like most invested players live, sort of the most, and I don't think it's the biggest population. I think 2 is the biggest. We just
Really?
don't.
Oh,
hear
yeah.
from them.
Right.
There's a lot of
Yeah.
Commander players that just, they don't engage with content, or they
Right.
don't talk about their decks online, or they don't have architect pages that I think are more comfortably living in the 2 space. But 3 is like is a really fun spot. Things start to get a little bit more competitive. Decks start to get a little bit more expensive. But it is shy of 4, which is for me the biggest difference between 3 and 4 is speed.
Okay.
Where like I think any deck can live in bracket 4, and usually the thing that tips a deck from 3 to 4 for me is a concerted effort to speed up your deck. So like playing all of the mana dorks, for example.
Right.
Where you're like, I'm gonna run like 7 1-mana elves.
Right.
Or I'm gonna run the fast mana that's still legal in the format.
Yeah.
Or I'm gonna run more tutors to find a combo that can happen on turn 4 or 5. I'm gonna play a fast combo where you're like, you can take any commander and really hit the gas on it as much as you can. And I think that's where like brewers really want to stretch their legs and like, I want to make a lethal machine. And that's how you wind up in 4. But it still tends to be like the pilot has built their deck and has taken it to the greatest extent of that commander.
Yeah.
And then once you get into 5, that feels like, okay, now I'm
extent of the
considering a
deck.
CDH meta.
Right.
Like now I'm considering I'm playing against this kind of gameplay, and so I really can't have like a dinosaur commander. I can't really like I have to focus on actual meta decisions. So I don't know. Those lines are wibbly.
Wibbly wobbly. Yep.
But so's Commander, baby.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah, I definitely would say, like, for me, because my realm is definitely within like the 3 and 4. I like building decks. I always say it's like I want people to feel like they walked away playing my Optimus Prime deck, my Shroom deck, my Edgar Markov deck. Like, I want people to walk away feeling like they lost to my take on this commander, and not just that they lost to like vampires as a whole, or just like Jeskai good stuff, or like artifacts in general. I want like the commander and my version of it to be synonymous with me, like my Aragorn deck. So it's like, so 3 and 4 is definitely where I have the most fun, because I feel I can really sometimes the limit of really focusing on the commander, like the 10th Doctor, is kind of just like a 2 or 3. I just can't bring it to a 4. Not without sacrificing so much of like the fabric of what I think makes the commander to like just win or just ramp him out really fast, right? A Jeweled Lotus just isn't gonna really be a 10th Doctor's thing, sorry. And same with Bracket 5. Bracket 5 is definitely where I personally feel it's way less about the extent of the commander and more the extent of the colors, or just like the deck flavor itself within a meta.
Yeah, I mean, that's much more strategy forward, where you're like, I've decided what I'm going to do with it, and everything else is incidental.
Right.
So that's I used to build a lot of 4s. I haven't pushed myself to a 4 lately, I've got a lot of sort of. I talked about this in an episode recently, actually. I've got a lot of bad fours,
Yeah.
that I sort of consider like glass cannon style decks, where it's like if you don't touch it, it will go off.
Right.
But most fours are going to be
Please
prepared.
do not touch it.
Yeah. But most fours are going to be like, okay, so I kill this, and you're like, yeah, that works.
Oh, okay, yeah, I will see you in a couple turns if we get there. Thank you.
Give me a second.
Right.
So I have a few decks that are like live in that sort of weird space that I would call a bad four, but are probably too good for threes, that are just like they're more disruptive than threes are ready for.
Right.
They're like take longer turns than most threes are anticipating, or they just like play more tutors than a 3 deck would really expect.
So they're more like glass cannons with a bunch of like jagged pieces where it's like, okay, listen, if you interact with me, I will fall over. But I do have like 50 removal spells, so I'm going to stop you as well. Which means I shouldn't be in bracket 3 because I'm killing every single commander I see.
Yep.
But also, please don't hurt me. It's projection. It's projection.
Yeah. The deck I was talking about in that episode was like an Eve. It was a mono green storm deck. So that deck didn't really mess with you. And it was like, it was very like, all right, I'm going to tutor for this piece of the combo, and I'm going to tutor for this piece of the combo, and then I'm going to make infinite mana-ish and have a very bad way to pay off that infinite mana.
Right.
And that was sort of what the deck was, where it was very powerful and played like Quirion Ranger or Shia stuff.
Right.
But, you know,
yeah,
it was very easy to be like, I kill a creature, and you're like, yeah.
Okay, you got it. You've seen through my disguise. And
then I have a Feldergriff deck that's like a very bad combo deck.
Would that be a 3?
Fierce Guardianship. I would call that a 4.
Oh, okay.
It has 4 game changers in it, I think. Maybe 5. So it's like sort of just tipped over the line.
I gotcha. Then what would be your bracket 3 list? Or like,
in my most of my decks live in bracket 3. Yeah.
Gotcha.
I would say like, yeah, that's where I'm gonna be most of the time. Some of them are like on the higher end, some of them are on the lower end, but all of them are sort of comfortable in a pot against each other.
Right. Fair enough. And then for bracket 5, do you have a bracket 5 deck that you ever really keep on hand, or just
not anymore? I've dabbled in CEDH. I had Winota for a long time because I went from dual commander into CEDH with Winota, and then I just never played it. I had an Orvar CEDH combo deck for a little while, and really fun. Right. Not great, but really fun. And I just didn't play enough of it to really get the reps in I needed to be proficient at that level. But it's fun.
Okay. All right. Well, with that lengthy discussion, sorry, sorry. It was supposed to be quick slides and not. Hey,
I'm a
perfect.
talker.
Okay, well then we'll be yapping then. All right, chat, you're in for a long one. If you could, for just a quick second, please, because I kind of just completely passed the intro. Can you tell people just a little bit about yourself? How you would like to advertise for a second.
Hi everybody. I'm Rachel Weeks. I host the Command Zone podcast. So we talk about Commander. I'm on game nights and extra turns, everything over on the Command Zone channel. I play gameplay around the Commander universe. I just showed up on Hijinks and various places. Other than that, I play D&D every Monday at 7 p.m. Pacific with a show called Better Than Heroes. And I like to talk... I'm on the Commander Format panel. That's probably important for this this conversation.
Like, whatever. I mean, like...
yeah.
It's fine.
So I'm a part of the council of like 18 people that had conversations about how the bracket system was going to function, and was a part of building the Game Changer list, and I was part of the conversations with all the unbans that happened in the last, I guess, 6 months.
Yeah, the unbans into the Game Changer. I also really like that kind of like that like decompression room
chamber.
That you gotta go through. Yeah. That you go through before you release it into the general public. It's like, let's make sure this was not a mistake. Yeah. No, that was also just like a really good. I have greatly appreciated what the entire group has done, just to
Good, I'm glad.
do what they can for the community. Like you've covered a lot of bases. That's for sure, and I think you've made a bigger table for everyone to sit at.
Good.
Yeah. Okay, so let's go over into the actual tier list bracket thing that we're here for. Let's go on over. Alrighty. So, and this is the first commander that we'll be looking at. This is Lightpaws, Emperor's Voice. So, the main function of this chat, as we said before, this is not Kuro and Rachel's like definitive bracket tier list. If you have a Hilda deck, you can't ever be better than a 3 or a 1 or a 5 or anything like that. This is if we were going to a con, an LGS, and we're sitting down at a table and someone goes, hey, I'm going to be playing Obnixilis Kingpin. Which bracket are we expecting when someone says that, right? It's based on our experience playing against those decks or those types of decks. And it's like, hey, listen, I played against a couple Obnixilis Kingpins. I know that this is going to involve a lot of pinging, a lot of damage amplification, blah, blah, blah. That will win in about 5 turns. I need to bring up some removal. This is probably like a bracket 4. So let me bring out a 4 for me. But if we feel that we have like time to set up our mono green storm combo thing, then hey, let's bring out this bracket 2 deck, and because we might have time to actually experiment with this. So that is what this is for us. So it'll be a bit of a conversation, everything like that. But you know, this is a lighthearted, chill environment. So without further ado, let's get into this actual bracket system here. So this is Lightpaws, Emperor's Voice. 1 in a white for a 2/2 legendary creature, Fox Advisor. Whenever an aura enters the battlefield, this card is actually just way too much. Whenever an aura enters the battlefield under your control, you may cast it. If you cast it, you may search your library for an aura card with mana value less than or equal to that aura with a different name than each aura you control. Put that card into the battlefield attached to Lightpaws, Emperor's Voice, then shuffle. Alrighty. They sit down with Lightpaws. Rachel, how do you respond?
This is a powerful card.
Yeah.
So I think I would guess they're in the 3/4 range. And then based on vibes, I would see if like how optimized it is.
Okay.
The thing about a Lightpaws is it's very consistent, and it can be quite fast.
Right.
So like because they can put a kill on the board very quickly. And take probably one player out of the board. I wouldn't anticipate combos. I wouldn't anticipate anything crazy, but it is going to be kind of hard to disrupt. So I would call it a high 3 is where I would guess. And I would bring out something that I know is either like disruptive enough that it can handle a very consistent deck, a very resilient deck, but probably not something super crazy. So I think 3 or 4 is where I would expect Lightpaws to be, but likely a high 3.
Yeah, it's to build a Lightpaws deck, right? Like someone, whether you're new or experienced, you sit down, you look at Lightpaws, and you go like, okay, that means I need to play auras. Okay, I've played Lightpaws, I played an aura. Ooh, okay, trigger Lightpaws, I get another aura. Okay, cool. If I keep doing that, then I'll just keep on making more auras, and I'll trigger my commander all the time. And from in my experience, this is like I think it walks itself into being a 4 so often, because it's like you have to stop Lightpaws somehow, right? You kind of have to keep on. Yeah.
Like the first aura that hits Lightpaws usually finds protection.
Right. Yeah.
Right. Like if they're like, okay, I'll play whatever aura I have in my hand, and then I'll go find the thing that gives it protection from like creatures or protection from all like 3 different colors or something like that.
Right.
So yeah, it is tough to disrupt for sure. I do think I think it is reasonable that there is a 3 in it, but I could definitely see it being a 4, and I think the consistency is part of it.
Yeah.
And the
Yeah.
problem is it's an aura deck at the end of the day. Like, you have to run so many bad cards.
True. I feel as though it's probably one of those where like the more Magic eventually just like makes just, like a 0 mana white protection from anything. Like eventually that'll be made, and then like all light balls will be 5s. But it's like, we're not at that point yet. Yet.
Yeah.
Okay, so so we're thinking like a 3.
I mean, I think it is completely fair to put it in a 4, and it seems like I'm right on the line, and I think your opinion rounds it up.
Okay. All right. Yeah. We'll look at the 4. Okay.
Yeah.
Next card up is Aith Gainsboro. Would you be able to read that one?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to look this one up real quick.
Yeah. Okay.
I know it's a life gain commander.
Right. Yeah.
When it dies, put a bunch of counters on each legendary you control. Sure. Okay. Oh, you should read it. Sorry.
Oh yeah. Okay, so Aith Gainsboro, 2 in a white for a 2/2 legendary creature, human cleric with lifelink, and whenever you gain life, put a +1/+1 counter on her. When Aith dies, put X +1/+1 counters on each legendary creature you control, or X is the number of +1/+1 counters on Aith Gainsboro. You know what? For the longest time, I just thought that went to just one other legendary, but that says each. That's horrifying.
Mono white legendary life gain is what we're looking at.
Yeah.
Or +1/+1 counters, I guess.
And most definitely someone who really likes Final Fantasy VII. So, and also really
it feels
likes
like
Aith, right?
It feels like if you're putting this in the command zone, you have a particular affinity for this character. Because it doesn't seem to... It's certainly not the best mono white life gain commander. It's like, there's a lot of ways that you could push this. And the legendary synergy usually means like you're playing every Final Fantasy character in white. Like I would expect that this has Cloud in it. And Zack and all of that stuff.
Right.
So I would anticipate that... that I would call Aith a 2 or a 3.
A 2 or a 3, okay.
Yeah. I think 2 is a perfectly reasonable place for it to be like, I'm going to gain a fair amount of life, and then... Because first you have to have a life gain engine. Then you have to have your commander on the board. Then you have to get her to die and have other legendaries on the board. Like, that is a pretty tough thing to set up.
That's a lot.
For that all to go according to plan. So I think 2 is a reasonable place. Plus it's monocolored.
Yeah, exactly. It's monocolor. You are limited by that. Even if it does have good life gain stuff, it's like, okay. And at the end of the day, you put +1/+1 counters on legendaries. Where do you go from there? You just put in so much to your deck to gain life. So like,
yeah.
And it's incremental life gain too. So it's not even like, oh, let me just like put in one life linker that gains me 50. It's like, I need multiple triggers. So yeah, I would say solid 2, 3.
I think 2. So. Yeah.
Solid 2. You can definitely do that. Okay. Next up we have Braids, Conjurer Adept. This is mono blue Braids. Cool. Are you able to read this one off? Yeah.
Sure, I can. Braids, Conjurer Adept. It's 2 blue for a 2/2 human wizard. At the beginning of each player's upkeep, that player may put an artifact, creature, or land card from their hand onto the battlefield. A lot of tricky things to make a Braids deck good. First of all, your opponents get to use it first. Second of all, it's a 4-mana 2/2 in mono blue. Third of all, your opponents are going to be terrified of you. Braids used to be a bit of a boogeyman. I would call it sort of a boomer boogeyman. So it's one of those cards that I'm like, okay, you can get an Eldrazi into play on turn 4 after everybody cheated something into play. Like,
right.
Like, at its best, it's very good, and at its worst, it's completely unplayably god-awful. I would call this a Glass Cannon 3.
A Glass Cannon 3, yep. I'd say that's pretty fair, right? Like, and especially, like, for me, as my anti-affinity for Group Hug makes this, like, an automatic, like, just crosshairs. And I'm always assuming that, like, especially because like, you know, early game, I just kept like a decent hand, right? I don't have
Yeah.
an if I had an Eldrazi in my opening 4 cards, I think it's bad. I think I'm having a bad time. But you know, other players are different. Okay, sometimes they'll just keep the Emrakul in their hand because flashy card. And you know what? I'm gonna assume that they did, and I'm going to definitely assume that the Braids player 100% kept every like 5 copies of Emrakul in their hand. That's how like my mind will assume the worst about the Blue Braids player. So I am always,
you have to.
Yeah, right. Like how else do you stay safe against just these free things? So I definitely need to have at least a 3 levels worth of interaction.
I think that's fair.
Yeah. All right,
I wouldn't call it a 4, like maybe back in the day, but
yeah, when we had just like way less to like 1 or 2 good counter spells would just be like, all right, well, we're the only other removal I have is a board wipe, so it's like, all right, yeah. Okay, alrighty. So then over to Bruvac, the Grand Eloquent.
Yeah. Bruvac.
Yeah. I'll read this one off. 2 in the blue for a 1/4 legendary creature, human advisor. When an opponent would mill 1 or more cards, they mill twice that many cards instead.
I assume the worst of Bruvac players. I
Yeah?
assume that this is gonna be a control deck with a Traumatize combo.
Okay. Yep.
Like,
yeah.
I don't think this is gonna be an incremental mill deck. I most of the time am going to assume that you have a way to kill me with Bruvac and 1 card in your deck. So there's like multiple combos with your commander and a spell, both of which are difficult to disrupt. Like, you can kill Bruvac in response, so a creature removal will do it, but you're gonna need counter spells to answer some of the bigger mill spells. So it's difficult to disrupt with certain colors. That being said, mill is not a great strategy. You're on your own. You're the only one fighting on that axis, and until you win, you are only helping them.
I think it gets worse and worse every year. Every year they keep on making good graveyard cards. Mill gets just like that much worse to play.
Yeah. I would call this a 3. I think this is the kind of combo that I think is acceptable in a bracket 3. It will be, like, my guess is it's pretty highly disruptive, but that doesn't necessarily kick it out of bracket 3 for me. And I just don't think a mill deck can necessarily compete with the pressure of 4.
I agree with that. Someone in the chat says they're almost like always persistent petitioners at this point, right? And it's like, especially Mono Blue. Yeah, and like
if it's persistent petitioners, it's bad. Then it's a
right. Yeah. Like 1 board wipe, and you're like, wow. I guess the mill player's just out. All right, hey, cool, sick.
It really depends on how you build Bruvac. I think there's a couple, like, if you build persistent petitioners, I'm like, best of luck to you. Like I'm stoked to see you doing it.
Right.
But the Bruvacs that I've played against are like, okay, if I resolve this spell with Bruvac on the board, your library's gone. Yeah,
but if I don't, I'm just buffing up the graveyard players. Yeah, I would say bracket 3 as well for sure. I'd bring out a soft typo deck or something. Alrighty, our next one up is the one and only Sepharoth, Fabled Soldier. Hey. Can you read this one off?
Nasty.
Yeah, and I both sides on here.
It'll take me a second.
Yeah.
Sepharoth, Fabled Soldier. 2 and a black for a 3/3 human avatar soldier. When Sepharoth enters or attacks, you may sacrifice another creature. If you do, draw a card. Whenever another creature dies, target opponent loses 1 and you gain 1. If this is the fourth time this ability has resolved this turn, transform Sepharoth into Sepharoth One-Winged Angel, which is a 5/5 Angel Nightmare avatar with flying. Excuse me. As it transforms into Sepharoth, One-Winged Angel, you get an emblem with whenever a creature dies, target opponent loses 1 and you gain 1. Whenever Sepharoth attacks, you may sacrifice any number of other creatures if you draw that many cards. It's a very powerful card.
It's a very powerful card. Yeah. And the decks it leads to, though, does the card itself powerful, but does the deck it leads to kind of like belie power?
I think so. The Sephiroths that I've played against lean really hard into edict effects. So, like, you play Sepharoth, you play a Plague Crafter, you sacrifice 4 creatures, immediately flip Sepharoth into the backside. They're also usually designed to sacrifice Sepharoth, get an emblem, flip him back over, and do it again to get multiple emblems. So they're often highly interactive, edict-heavy decks that win slowly, but in a way that's very difficult to disrupt. This is, again, one of those things that, like, I think if you build it the edict way, it's probably too disruptive for a 3. I would say that your strategy is largely pushes you into a 4. But if you build it more just like Mono Black Aristocrat style, then I could see it functioning as a 3.
Yeah, that seems... I would agree. I mean, mostly the Sephiroth decks I've gone against, like Dr. Lupo's, and that was when he's specifically trying to, like, make it not the most oppressive thing ever, with, like, every single edict effect for sure, but still definitely, like, pain and drain, pinging and everything like that. I mean, honestly, thank goodness that Sephiroth says, like, target player loses 1. Because if it was, like, in each player, the game, like, those games would just be, like, super unfun and would be done by, like, turn, like, maximum 6, right? I like that it's, like, you have to build a deck if you want damage to everyone.
The fact that he's a blood artist and it affects any creature on the battlefield is plenty powerful. Where it's, like, you can flip Sephiroth, flip him back over, get another emblem, cast a board wipe, and win the game on the spot.
Right.
Or, like, kill a player, probably.
Yeah.
You probably can't take out the whole table that way, but
probably not. No.
It's I think Aristocrats is a very powerful strategy just overall. I think Black is well set up to do these sort of, like, black chainy drawy drainy turns that take a long time, that kind of thing. So I think a lot of Aristocrats are just sort of default to bracket 3, and I would say Sephiroth is powerful enough that I'm not going to bring out the big guns, but I will be ready to disrupt, and that is the deck I'm probably looking at the table.
Gotcha. Fair enough. All right. So yeah, a solid 3. A solid 3.
I would
for
say
sure.
So.
Yeah. Alrighty. Well, Sephiroth had a solid 3. Let's go over to our next one. And that's going to be...
Don't tell Sephiroth. He's I'm a 3.
I'm a 3, really? All right. Now, this one, Tiny Bones, Bobble Burglar. So there are a couple Tiny Bones, but this one, Bobble Burglar, is a 2-mana, 1/3 skeleton rogue. Whenever an opponent discards a card, exile it from their graveyard with a stash counter on it. During your turn, you may play cards you don't own with stash counters on them from exile, and mana of any type can be used to cast it. Pay 4, 3 black, to tap, and then each opponent discards a card, activate only as a sorcery. Shout out to Bruvac, another fellow content creator who also loves Tiny Bones. And I gotta say, for this Tiny Bones, more specifically, I'm not too worried. If someone who looks like they have, like, some experience is playing this one, I'm going to feel like it's not just going to be every single discard card known to mankind. It's going to be an appropriate amount, right? And mana to be able to cast the spells that you're stealing, right? Because it's not just about, okay, I gotta make sure my opponents just have no cards in hand, like a Liliana deck or something like that. It's like, no, you want to have them discard the things that they wish that they didn't have to discard. They're still playing the game, of course, but, like, they had to discard something that they weren't going to play until later game. Well, now it's later game, and you have the mana to be able to cast that card, and they don't have that card. So, you know, if you're going about it with, like, a mind to make sure that everyone is still having a decent time at the table, I think that most of these Tiny Bone decks are, like, a solid higher 2?
Interesting.
Yeah.
I don't think 2s are going to be ready to play against hand discard.
Okay.
I think, like, a primary strategy that's largely disruptive is sort of excluded from 2, even if it isn't a super powerful one. Like I just most precon level cards do not have the level of card advantage that they would need to
stop
combat this kind of thing.
Okay.
So I just think it's not a strategy that people would anticipate in bracket 2, where you're like, you're coming for my hand, really? I do think you're right. I think this is not a particularly powerful Tiny Bones, and it's not necessarily one that I would be like, I'm not playing against that. Right. I think it's very comfortable in 3, but you do need to be like, look, I am going to make you discard cards. You are going to, like, I'm going to be repeatedly disrupting your strategy. Are we cool with that?
Right.
It's because disruptive strategies like hand hate are just not everybody's cup of tea.
That's super fair. Yeah,
I mean, I think you could call it a 2 with an asterisk and make sure everybody's on board to be like, it's not a particularly explosive deck. It's not really gonna it is not going to win the game out of nowhere. I'm gonna kill you with your cards.
Right.
But you have to be ready for a level of disruption that and comfortable with that. So I think 2 or 3 is right. It just requires an extra conversation, as a lot of heavily disruptive decks do.
Yeah. Come to think of it, I guess like the last kind of like Mr. Studio Girl deck that they did in precons was like Gonti, the 3-color one.
Sure, yeah.
And even that was like, I'll just steal it from the top of your deck, so you don't even like necessarily feel that bad like you lost it.
Yeah, you don't lose things,
right.
really. Yeah.
I just, it was just never there in the first place. It's fine. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I think Gonti's chill at 2. Like, newer players are like, stop taking my things, but at least like they're not taking you the things you have.
Right. Yeah. The feel bads aren't there. Yeah, I get that.
Right. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So a 3 if we're kind of running into a Tiny Bones. That makes sense to me. Yeah. Alrighty. Okay. Then over on to the red cards. Krenko Mob Boss.
Hey, Crankle baby. Gotta be ready for this one.
You gotta be ready. So take this one away.
Oh yeah. Cranko is 2 red for a goblin. Is he just a goblin? Warrior. Goblin Warrior, excuse me. And he's got an activated ability that says tap, create X, 1/1 red goblin creature tokens where X is the number of goblins you control. He's a 3/3 naturally, but that doesn't matter. I guess he's lightning boltable. It's a very explosive deck that is usually an aristocracy style thing where it's like, if they untap with Krenko, it's gonna be tough.
It's gonna be really tough. Yeah.
Yeah. And the level of disruption, I would say, puts it in at least a 3. I think there's Krenko decks that could go all the way up to 4.
For sure.
But if you're like Krenko Goblin type-ul, you're probably closer to 3. If you're just like, I just want to make a lot of goblins and attack, and then if you're like, I'm aristocrats, I can make a stack of goblin, like I can do
Goblin,
what's his name? That looks up. No, the one that casts goblins off the top and combos with Kiki Jiki.
Goblin.
God.
His art's so cool because it's like his nose is pressed up against the glass. I love it. What's that one shot? Goblin. Snoop? Something Snoop.
Conspicuous Snoop.
Conspicuous Snoop. Yes.
We did it. Like, if you've got the goblin recruiter piles where you can set up a Snoop stack and combo off, then that's absolutely a 4. And I would think that I would expect it to be a little bit higher. So I think this is a big depends on how you build a deck. But you do need the disruption to be in at least 3.
I feel I'm thinking I'm leaning more towards like a 4. Largely, like, as it's this is one of the cards where it's like, certainly back in the past, goblins I just didn't think had like enough going for them per se, especially just like in one color, to kind of like automatically kind of clock higher. But nowadays, with the pervasiveness of goblins, how very easy it is to find any level of a list, whether you're a brand new player, experienced or not, like any level of a list of just like, hey, listen, there's like 500 goblins. Here are like the top 100, and they're not even necessarily that expensive to acquire. And even if it's like the top 30 goblins that someone is able to throw together, especially with Krenko's abilities, the ability to just like tap and then now boom, there's a whole host of more triggers happening that you might have saw it coming, but like, oof, if you are not ready to honestly kind of kill Krenko on sight in a lot of ways, like that's going to be a Perforos trigger, that's going to be impact tremor triggers, that's going to be the goblin that is an impact tremors and a goblin token producer trigger.
Oh yeah, they do it all now.
Yeah, like they do so much now that I feel it is more difficult to make a lower tier goblin deck than to just stumble into a higher bracket.
If it was like the 6 mana goblin commander that comes in and puts a bunch of goblin Muxus, would that change where you put it?
I think Muxus.
I feel like Muxus is like. I would call Muxus lower.
Yeah,
like I would call Muxus
lower. Yeah. I would. Yeah.
And Krenko's just sort of a like, because he's so powerful and explosive.
Yeah. The force multiplier
that things happen fast.
Yeah. The force multiplier that he adds to a bracket 3 deck, just from just I mean, let's just look at that text, right? It brings it to a 4 to me.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it really depends on the build for me, but but I think calling it a 4, it is a 5 alarm commander where you're like, okay, well, we got to keep an eye on Mr. Goblin over here.
We do. And as soon as you see 2, you're just like, all right, guys, we got to get them, right? It's like, guys, it's just 2 goblins. Like, yeah, we can't trust them. Yeah. Alrighty. The next one is OHare Oxil, Deepest Might. And I'll read this one. The backside does not matter. Yeah, this was a good one. This is one of the first gods they showed for Ixalan. It was a good time. OHare Oxil, Deepest Might. 2 red for a 4/4 legendary creature god with trample. If a red source you control would deal an amount of non-combat damage less than OHare Oxil's power to an opponent, that source deals that much damage instead. When OHare Oxil dies, return it to the grab, blah, 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 blah. That doesn't happen.
It flips into a land.
Yeah.
It's hard to kill.
Yeah, but as the commander, I'll recast it probably. Now.
Interesting. I think this is less scary than Perforos and more scary than a lot of red commanders. This thing can kill you fast.
It hurts, but it doesn't kill you.
It hurts.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mana Barb's OHare Oxil, and you're just like, okay, thank you. What a fun game we're playing.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to be ready to kill this thing.
Yeah. You see it coming for sure. You're like, okay, they played Impact Tremors. They played Impact Tremors number 2. They played Impact Tremors number 5. Okay, well, I think they're about to play their commander. I think we're about to...
If the commander comes in, we're going to... I mean, there's not much you can do, right? They're going to cast... You either counter the commander on the stack, and if they have 5 Impact Tremors on the board, then you're dead.
Right, so you start taking down those Impact Tremors,
Yeah, this is one that you sort of have to kill the setup pieces, because once he's on the battlefield, usually they can do stuff at instant speed, like if they have a Pyrohemia on the board, that kind of thing. A removal spell ain't gonna do it. So that level of disruption is normally what I would call, like, if I can answer it with a creature removal, like I feel pretty comfortable with it being in a 3.
Okay.
And like, and if I have to answer it with a counter spell, if the kind of wins that you're going for is like, it requires stack interaction, that's sort of when I start looking at 4. I don't know. That's sort of a thin line for me. And there's some like Torment of Hailfires and that kind of thing that are perfectly comfortable in 3. But for this kind of thing, when it's like, it's a 4 mana and it's your commander, and I kind of have to counter it or I die the turn it comes down.
Right.
I don't know. I would power up against it, probably.
You power up against it? Okay.
I'd probably play a high 3 against it and, keep a very close watch on it.
So if it's a high 3, are we saying a 4 or?
I don't know. The funny thing is, it just all sort of depends on how fast they're going. Like,
Right.
if they're running the lotus petals and stuff to get this thing powered out, if they're running pyroblast and that kind of thing, that's like when I would start expecting it to be in a bracket 4, where it's like they have their own disruption, they're trying to fight through a level of disruption. It feels like they're in 4. But if they're just doing a burn style thing where they're trying to resolve an enchantment and then their commander, then that feels like it's in a 3. It's just a 3 you need to keep an eye on because they can kill you fast.
Okay. Yeah.
So I don't know. I feel like it's fine in a 3, but there are worlds where you're like, well, that was faster than
well, okay, that's wild. Anyway,
You're right,
shuffle up again. Right, yeah, I can see that too. I would also put them as a 3, certainly a dangerous one, at the very least, because you do see the pieces falling into place. I know I'm gonna take at least 20 damage from this commander. Like, I'm just already applying that. But I know that if I keep at least enough of the, like, you know, 1 pingers off, because I know that they're not going to cast, say, like Mizium Mortars, because there's already 4 damage. So, like, okay, that's not really what I'm expecting, that big burst of damage. It's going to be a lot of smaller pings that turn into 4s, and I'm thinking if I turn off those 4s, like 1 board wipe could probably set this guy back quite a bit.
Yeah, disruption definitely can impact this, but it's a scary one for sure.
It's definitely
the thing about commanders like OHare Oxil is all of your opponents see it too.
Right.
So like, they do start the game face up. We have to kill this person or we die. So it is tough playing the mono red burn deck because the whole table's like, kill that with fire.
Kill it. So. All right, then over to our first of the green ones. We have Finn the Fang Bearer. This is just like, I mean, the quintessential. I'd say he's almost more infect typal than Atraxa at this point. I think Atraxa is just spread in so many different directions, but like, you know what Fang's up to, okay? Like, you...
It's also like, you can cast a board wipe and blow this deck out.
Also true. Right, because you have to...
Like,
well, let's read the card here. Finn the Fang Bearer, 1 in the green for a 1/3 human warrior. Death touch. Whenever a creature you control with death touch deals damage to a player, that player gets 2 poison counters, and then cool flavor text. And that's it. Death touch deck. Poison.
They usually play 1-drop, and then on turn 2 they play 1-drop, and then on turn 3 they attack with 3 1/1 death touchers. It's quick, but toxic is not.
No.
It is a tough strategy to get off the ground. I would say it's probably a 3 because you need blockers, you need disruption, or you will die to this thing. But like, I don't think it's necessarily a good strategy, and it is sort of like OHare Oxil, where the whole table's like, well, we can't let Finn stay or we're gonna die. So with the proliferate, it's definitely better than it used to be. Like, all the stuff from All Will Be One made it a lot better.
I would definitely agree with that.
A lot more.
Yeah, and green, you know, they added some toxic green things in there just to like you can put a dinosaur in there that's like an 8/8, so it's just not a 1/1 with death touch. But yeah, I would say like a 3, like I wouldn't even say like a high or low 3, just like a 3, just to be able to go like, hey, just swat, just every now and then you gotta just swat him down.
The funny thing about it is, like, commander players don't like blocking, and this deck makes you block, and you're like, well, I don't want to trade my creature for their death toucher. It's like, you will die. Kill their death toucher.
Yes.
And it's
like, right.
Just trade your mana creature for their death toucher, and you're in a great spot.
That makes me feel like if I know that I'm at the bracket 2 table and someone comes out with Finn, I'm like, okay, guys, listen. Okay, as a group, you can trade your creature for their death toucher. They have a limited amount of those. You have way more creatures.
Run out.
They will run out, okay?
It's okay.
The toxic isn't worth it. And they're like, but my Llanowar elf is like, brother?
No.
You're an elf player. You have 5 more of them. in your hand.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
just trade one.
So
It's
funny.
okay. It's
Funny.
okay.
Just picture it as a single green to remove one creature. That's great.
Yeah.
That's a very powerful
That's actually
card.
pretty good. It's actually pretty good.
Yeah.
But then, of course, once they swing at me, I'm just like, okay, I can't block with my Rafine. It's the linchpin of
block.
my deck. So
I
you
want
like,
it.
yeah, like listen, I'll be a hypocrite about
Mine.
it, but I will be very loud
I
about
like
what other
cast-
people should do. You just don't see my master plan. See, I need this
Yeah,
1/1
I need
because it's my win con. Yeah. All right.
It makes me feel better.
Yeah, it makes you feel good. All right, so yeah, Finn the Fang Bearer, definitely a 3, but like it will dominate bracket 2s because bracket 2s do not want to block ever. That's just they don't.
Yeah. Well, they just also don't have creatures that they
That's
can cast
true.
super early to get on the
Right.
ground. They don't have the disruption to like consistently answer the commander. I
Right.
think it's fair in a 3.
Yeah. All right, over to Ayula, Queen Among Bears.
Hey,
Bear guy.
I'm happy calling Ayula a 2, but we should read her.
Yes.
She cares about two twos, in fact.
Mhm.
So it's appropriate. Ayula, Queen Among Bears, is 1 and a green for a legendary bear. Whenever another bear enters the battlefield under your control, choose 1. Put 2 +1/+1 counters on target bear, or target bear you control fights target creature you do not control. Bear deck.
Bear
Playing a
Force
lot of bad cards to make some 4/4s.
1. Listen, Bear Force
Yeah.
1 changed Magic as soon as she came out.
Now, Graham is prone to do that too.
Yeah.
This deck is sweet. I think it's really fun. I don't think you expect it in a bracket 3. It's not going to have a ton of disruption, and it is going to have a ton of bears. So
Yeah.
depending
I
on your
mean,
dedication, this could be bracket 1.
Ooh, you know?
If you like really bear down,
Which,
oh, it's
it-
the bracket 1 in some worlds.
who doesn't bear down with a Ayula Queen Amongst Bears? That's all I'm asking. Like, who
must.
doesn't,
You
right?
simply must.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say that the average person who comes to any table with the Ayula Queen Amongst Bears, I would bracket 1 that. I would, yeah, the puns are
I think
unbearable.
that's not- I think
Exactly.
that's fair.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's why you brought Ayula, was to make bear puns.
If they sit down and call it Bear Force 1,
Mm-hmm.
that's bracket 1.
They have great taste.
Yeah, they have great taste. They're a person of culture. Bracket 1. Bracket 1 for sure.
I think that's fair.
Yeah.
Either one of those.
Yeah. I think some precons can definitely contend with
They can
some
tussle
just
with Ayula.
a little bit. Yeah. Okay. And that is being bracket 1 is in no way, shape, or form a disrespect. It is
Sick.
honestly
Sick, dude.
like an honorable. Like, all right,
Yeah.
you're giving me the chance to play something that I don't normally get to play. I get to hang back, chill, and play Ladies Looking Left. People in chairs. Oh, people in chairs. It still won't be a Laurel. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm not gross, but like people in chairs. That was like the bracket 1 back
That's
in
cool,
my day.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Next one. We have
I hate
Zuladoc.
to do this to you. I gotta run to
yes.
the bathroom real
Oh
quick.
yeah, you're
I'll
totally
be right
good. Yeah. Oh, perfect. We're stopping on the Eldrazi. That's perfectly fine. Yeah.
back. Yeah. Ugh.
Yeah. And actually, chat. I will also be right back because I just smelled something burning. I think it's food, but I'm just gonna. It's definitely food. My brother's outside. Okay. Oop, my bad. I'm gonna double check. No, I'm sure it's not. I'm just gonna, maybe I'll pick some food. Hold on. Yeah, we'll take the quickest amongst breaks. Okay. The queen amongst breaks. All right. Chat, how we doing? Do you enjoy my my IHOP pillow from like a magic on? Unacceptable? Come on now. We're all good, BGM. Chat, how we doing today, huh? Always check burning. Hey, listen, Evil Critter, thank you. That's true. Chat, how are we doing? Are you enjoying this? This is the first time I've done something like this. This is I know that there's a little less chat interaction than normal, so I do apologize for that. I am also trying to be respectful of time. I don't know how much time Rachel has, but yes, I actually really enjoy doing this. So what I did, I chose 2 commanders from each of the colors, right? So like 2 reds, 2 blues, 2 Jeskai, 2 Juns, and only 1 colorless, because but then like 3 color 5 colors. So never even heard of brackets before this, really? Okay, hey, hell yeah. Can you please, so yeah, for anyone who's just joining us, I am with Rachel Weeks here, and so this is called the Commanders Bracket, woo, with Kurohitsuki and Rachel Weeks, and we're going over so hypothetically, right, we sit down at a table at a MagicCon or at an LGS, right, brand new neutral ground space, okay? Now, if someone were to sit down at the table before we have the deeper discussion of what magic, what type of game we're trying to have, before we get there, we see their commander, they say, hey, I'm going to be playing Sepharoth, I'm going to be playing Ayula, I'm going to play Zuladoc, right? What are the bracket games that we're getting ready to play, right? Because both of us agree that brackets are largely about intent, right? What is the intent of the person who's playing it? And from our experience playing Magic, our what we've seen, what we've built before, our interaction with Magic is that, hey, if someone sits down with Finn the Fang Bearer, as you can kind of see what we're talking about here, if someone sits down with Finn the Fang Bearer, we know that we need to be at a bracket 3 at the very least to make sure that we have enough removal to deal with what we need to deal with, right? Same with like OHare Oxil, same with Tiny Bones. But Aith is more of a bracket 2, right? Aith is more of a, this is life gain, legendary white creatures, etc. We don't necessarily have to be on our Aest of A games to deal with this deck, not even deal with this deck, but just to sit down at the table and have a good time. It's probably someone who's enjoying Final Fantasy, right? It's someone who's enjoying mono white life gain. They want to recreate the Final Fantasy 17. That's fine. That's probably a decent bracket too. We can chill with this. For bracket 1, we just did a Eula, Queen Amongst Bears, because anyone who sits down at a MagicCon with a Eula Queen Amongst Bears, and if they just simply say, this deck is called Bear Force 1, that's a bracket 1 pod, baby, and we are going to chill. We are going to chill for the next 2 hours, because this game's not ending anytime soon. For the next 2 hours, we are chilling. And that is a good thing, right? Like, this is in no way, shape, or form like some official bracket list or anything like that. But this is how comfortable do we feel we need to, we can be at a pod that, without the further conversation, someone just sits down and says, hey, I got Sepharoth. Okay, like, hey, Rachel, we probably gotta step this up to a 3 to make sure that we're not just getting completely stomped. So that is what the
gotta be ready.
That is what this was. Actually, Shazad's about Marrow. I actually had that on the list before I reduced it from 3 choices to 2. I think I would put Marrow at, Mono Black Rats, and it's apparently like the most popular rat deck. I would put that at like maybe a 4.
Yeah, you could definitely build it that way. It can be fast.
Yeah.
Marinar is like, can be super combo-y.
Yeah.
But I think it's fine in a 3. Like, you and I are in different spots on Krenko. I think it's very comparable to Krenko in terms of explosiveness and combo potential.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Hands.
And again, this is also just like a discussion. We're just kind of like finding the middle ground on it. So, all right. So, yeah, we're on Zuladoc. All right, that's where we left off. Perfect place to leave off. So, I'll read Zuladoc here. Zuladoc World Void Gorger, 5 and a Devoid, 7/4 Legendary Creature Eldrazi. Colorless spells you cast from your hand with mana value 7 or greater have Cascade. I mean,
This card's messed up.
his card's messed up. I don't trust nobody. Ain't not a single person I trust. I went to my LGS yesterday to pick out some crumbs for Edge of Eternities, okay? And even there, there's someone I never even saw before, but it looks like I think they were newer at Magic. I think they mentioned that they just picked up the precon from MH3, and I saw the precons in the wall. So I'm like, okay, like this is a fresh get. And they're like, can I need K and colorless. And it's just like, what are they getting? Oh, and they just, boom, Kozilek. It's like, all right.
Yeah.
Okay. Alrighty. I see where this is going.
If Kozilek isn't good enough, you need two more spells with it.
Right.
Yeah. I think colorless decks are often exceptionally fast because they're largely built to ramp into really powerful cards. And now your very powerful cards come with 2 more free spells. I think Zuladoc is often one that I would consider a 4 out of the gate.
Yeah. And this is one of those, and actually someone in the chat is like, oh, you know, can a commander be built in different brackets like VV? Yeah, absolutely, like 100%. We're not saying that, you know, you can build a bracket for anything. But by and large, random sits down at a completely neutral ground space.
There's nothing.
From our experience, I'm clocking Zuladoc at a 4. I'm clocking VV at a 4 too. Okay? Because just the abilities of the card. If someone says like, hey, I built a commander deck, that's this commander. Yeah. I mean, you look at the commander's text. Just look at the text. Look at the text on VV. Yeah. Look at the text on Zuladoc.
Yeah. Zuladoc says, I plan to cast multiple 7-drops. That's like, Jesus. That means we're coming out fast. That means we're ramping really hard. It means we're casting big stuff, and it ain't going to be pretty. Yeah. I think this one's a pretty easy 4.
I would agree. And actually, right before we go on to the next one, another random switch chat. Hello, aren't you guys worried about all the influencing going on from MTG content creators, especially Commander? I mean, no.
Worried about influencing.
Yeah. No, just in terms of I know the type of person and content creator I want to be, and also the ones that I connect with, especially. And I see that, like, the good that we try to put out in the community, just in terms of like, hey, you know, not everything is black and white. There's a wide, you know, swath of players. Just be kind of generally ready for like X, Y, and Z, but like it's okay if you lose and all that sort of stuff. No, I actually think that of course there's a balance, you know, any influencer, content creator, whatever applies to Magic the Gathering, but I know that I surround myself with a very decent sort, and we're always trying to expand the table for anyone versus being negative with it.
Yeah. I think the world is full of influence, whether you get it from YouTube or you get it from the people at your game store. Like, I don't think avoiding influence is, like, I want people to be able to build what they want to do, and I think, like, as an influencer or as a podcaster or whatever you want to call me, my goal has always been to help people feel more confident making and playing the kind of commander that they want to make and play. So giving them the tools to be creative and feel comfortable going to their game store and that kind of thing. You know, a lot of people talk about how influencers are responsible for commander powering up, but I think that is just a byproduct of more better tools for deck building, more experience, more players, better cards. There's like, influencers are going to make you better deck builders because they teach you how to be better deck builders, but that could come from anywhere and anyone. It's just, you know.
Yeah. No, very, very well
source.
said. And this is, we're not going to answer every question like that, but I do think that one specifically does kind of like play into a little bit of how we're judging these on brackets, where it's like, hey, listen, I know a lot of people looked up a deck on actually our next one right here. It's actually Annoyingly, as far as one of my most popular looked at decks on Moxfield, and that's Hilda of the Icy Crown. Now, and I'll read her off. Okay, 2 white and a blue for 3/4 human warlock. Whenever you tap an untapped creature an opponent controls, you may pay 1. If you do, choose one. Either make a 4/4 elemental, put a +++ encounter on each creature you control, or scry 2 and draw a card. Now, as far as Eldraine went, I liked the idea of Hilda. I like ice motifs and powers and whatnot in fantasy, so I built her. But I gotta be honest, it is not one of my most enjoyable decks personally. It's a lot of work to do. And it's not always like just the most satisfying payoff. But hey, I know a lot of people looked at my deck tech, and a lot of people did really like building Hilda. They found a really easy guide to cut through the minutia that is the giant commander list. And find just like the good amount of tap cards in there and a good amount of like interaction, all that sort of stuff. And that, to me, if I see a Hilda deck, I would certainly at the very least say it's like a 3, because I know there is at least a couple thousand people who were like, okay, this is a decent list. I found the best tap spells. And also, I still have some interaction. There's still some kill spells. There's some good combos we can do with tapping and untapping and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I know there's a decent amount of people who have a good head around how to build a Hilda deck. Whereas if there were no influencers, I think it would be a solid 2. Because there's just too many bad tap spells to look at. So without cutting through all of that,
it's definitely
it would be all 2. Yeah.
I think 3's fair. It's definitely a it's a tough one to get going, because it is like a 4-mana commander that you have to do something to pay more to make something happen. But the conceit of a deck that is like, I'm going to tap down your stuff repeatedly and it's going to be difficult to do what you think you can do, does make it a little bit more disruptive than I would think a bracket 2 deck is prepared for.
Oh, this would ruin pre-con. Like, just like in terms of like, not fun. Oh no.
You're like, oh, you mean I can never attack with my commander? It's like, never.
But I just bought this and that's what I want to do. Like, why are you doing this to me? It's like, sorry,
Hilda
Cloud.
Said so.
Yes.
Hilda said so. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry. Yep. Okay, yes. So on to more. Okay, more on this bracket system here. Next one is Hope Esthium.
Yeah, this is a new one, right?
Yeah, brand new one.
This is from Final Fantasy. Hope Esthium is white and a blue for a human wizard, a 2/2 with lifelink. At the beginning of your end step, each opponent mills X cards, where X is the amount of life you've gained this turn. I think this is perfectly fine as a 2. You have to have gain life cards, you have to have mill cards, and mill is not a particularly strong win con, and white doesn't particularly help you with it. So I think it's a neat build, and there's definitely stronger blue mill commanders.
And especially it being based off of life. I mean, I actually bought one of the new cards, Space-Time Anomaly, which...
Oh yeah, this card's great.
Way, in draft, oh my lord, that...
I beat it recently in draft and was like, how?
It puts so much of a clock on draft pods. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So I think this one's perfectly comfortable in a 2 spot. Anything that's like this that kind of pulls your deck in 2 different directions just makes it a little bit less efficient, and I think a little bit more recognizable as a 2.
I definitely agree with that. I would say, like, it is a new form of mill too. Like, mill's usually blue-black. Now they're losing the black and going to white, and white does not help with mill at all. Like, white's just like, what? Who
not really.
Invited you? What?
You're like, I didn't ask to be here.
I gain life. Is that... I can do that.
Also, like, gaining life on your turn is pretty tricky.
Oh yeah.
Like half the reason you gain is it does it on end step, right? So you have to gain a bunch of life on your turn. Yeah. It means you have to have like a ton of lifelink, or you have to have like a soul sister and a ton of creatures entering, which is like, that's just a lot of pieces to ask for. People don't like mill.
Right.
but I don't
Also
think
that.
that makes it a 3.
So we're saying, saying like a 2 on this one, just with
I think
the
2 is fine.
the life gain. It's weird. We have both of the life gain decks on here are
Yeah,
bracket
I'm
2.
not saying life gain is bad.
No,
I'm
yeah,
just
no,
saying
definitely
those
not.
aren't the ones that scare
Right.
me.
These aren't the commanders that makes life gain scary, nor even Mill scary. Bruvac is here making Mill scary, right?
He makes me a little scared. Yeah.
Okay, on to our next one. We got
This Talion.
Talion, the kindly lord.
Yeah. Oh, he's so kindly.
He's so kindly. Can you read this one, because you've talked about this one before, I believe, on Game Night?
Yes. 2 blue-black for a 3/4 fairy noble with flying. As Talion enters, choose a number between 1 and 10. Whenever an opponent casts a spell with mana value, power, or toughness equal to the chosen number, that player loses 2 life, and you draw a card. Oh, Talion, how kindly of you.
How kindly. And Talion is they, apparently, actually. Thank you very much, chat. Did not
Excuse
know
me.
that. Yep. So yeah, Talion. Now I remember the discussion around this one when Talion came out, and I think, the Command Zone did the breakdown where it's like, okay, the math for CEDH is 2 and 3 to be like the right number to call, like the most viable number. Now, we're not necessarily sitting at a CDH table per se. We're just kind of like out here in the Commander wilds. Without specifically saying that we're at a CDH event, I wouldn't per se I would see a Talion.
No, this would set off alarm bells to me at a casual table, just because Talion is so generically powerful that I don't necessarily know what to expect in their deck.
Right.
So when it's this open-ended and this powerful and is a CEDH commander for those reasons, I expect sort of a blue-black good stuff pile, likely disruptive because of the card draw, and like I wouldn't even expect like fairy typal from Talion. I would expect more of a control pile, and I would be wary of it for sure. I think, not knowing anything about the table that we were at or the person I'm playing against, I would think this is a high quality 3 or maybe a 4 type of thing.
I would say a 4. I would agree.
I think that's fair.
With the 4. Yeah, like I'm
mean, suspicious of them.
Yeah, the eyes are being sided for sure on this one, because like even he doesn't even they don't even scream fairy, right? Like they don't even scream +1/+1 to every fairy, and like every time a fairy comes into play, someone mills to. Like that's not even what Talion does. There's other fairies that do that. So
yeah,
you're not a typal deck. You're not a typal deck. So
something's going on.
Something's being a little too kindly on this one. So yeah,
Talion's the closest to having a Rhystic Study in the Command Zone that sort of exists. You know what I mean? You're like, 1 in 3 spells you cast, I draw a card. And you're like, okay, that's very powerful.
Very strong. Very strong. Yeah.
I'd be suspicious. I think 4 is reasonable.
Yeah, definitely so. Alrighty, on to our next option. We have Tasha, the Witch Queen. Whew.
Oh, I love a Tasha.
Okay,
we have a Tasha in our playgroup.
Okay, this will definitely come down to experience for sure. So, what is your experience with Tasha?
His is a mill deck that steals instants and sorceries from you. So it's largely a mill deck. And the demons are sort of incidental to protect Tasha. It's more of like a Spellslinger graveyard deck. So he does some amount of like reanimate from people's graveyards. He does some amount of like just steal your draw and disruption spells. But mostly it's a like mill graveyard deck.
Okay.
So I would call it a perfectly fine 3.
A perfectly fine 3?
Maybe. Yeah.
Now, and so you have actually played against like a fully functioning and like repeat, like, you know, it's someone's kind of like forever deck. Now, and chat even knows how I feel about this poor Tasha. I have always confirmed that like Tasha suffers from being one of just really attractive, right? Very attractive, good, a known character in D&D. And like also being a planeswalker, just like, okay, like, hey, you're entering Magic for the first time. Here is a powerful woman who looks like you. Like you could look like Tasha. She's not an alien. Yeah. She's not a, so it's just like put on a witch outfit, red wig, and like boom, you're there. So she's very appealing to anyone. But I have never personally seen a good Tasha deck.
Sure, yeah. It's a lot of moving pieces.
It's so many moving pieces. And it's like, you look at it, it's just like, okay, wait, so I'm this cool, powerful woman, and I'm a steal your deck commander? And it's instants and sorcery. It's not even like mainly
it's
creatures.
Just instants and sorcery, so you can definitely like whiff. You can. There's definitely like you're like, I guess I'll take your rampant growth. Not to mention she's 5 mana and doesn't cast the spell for free.
Right. You don't even get demons until you start casting other people's spells. Like I have just many women who have gotten into Magic, and Tasha was their first commander, and it's just like,
it's a tough one. Yeah.
I'm sorry, because a new player can't.
Oh no, it is without paying its mana cost. Never mind. Sorry.
For the minus,
the
minus, right? Yeah, the
minus.
Yeah, but you have to make sure you plus first, which still doesn't make a demon, right?
It's a mess.
Yeah,
you're right. This card isn't super powerful. Yeah. I think putting it as a 2 is probably perfectly acceptable. Yeah. It is a lot of moving pieces to make Tasha work. Not to mention a 5 mana planeswalker that you have to protect in Dimir.
Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah. I mean, good luck. I don't think newer players can like really get around like what you need to do for planeswalkers in Commander, like how much you really have to protect them, even if they're doing nothing. Tasha did nothing to anyone, but Tasha's still gonna be just like swung at because like planeswalker, and they're just like, okay, I guess I just don't get to play. Yeah. Okay. So
it is so sad. Their chat's talking about the arena version of Tasha, which is unacceptably busted.
What is the arena version
of horrifying? It's whenever her plus is whenever you attack Tasha or the defending player, your whole board gets -1/-1. It might be -1/-1 counters. It's like,
that's better than Silumgar.
It's insane.
Okay.
Hang on.
Let's
see if I can find the version.
Counters
until your next turn. Oh, it is -1 counters. Okay. Whenever a creature attacks you or Tasha, put a -1/-1 counter on that creature. That's the plus. That's the plus ability. The minus is target opponent puts a creature card of their choice from their graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. That creature gains ward 2, so it reanimates a creature. But they don't do that. It's the plus. It just says you can't attack me ever. Like aggro decks, no.
That should have been what Tasha was.
And it's 4 mana, by the way. It is 1 cheaper.
That by itself should, like, however anyone can feel about Arena, that is the corrected version of what Tasha should have been. For how iconic she is, for how attractive she is to new players to play Magic. And honestly, everything you said sounded still like pretty okay. Like, I'm not,
In Commander, it's honestly a lot more fair than it is in 1v1. In Brawl, this thing makes me want to cry. Also, the -6 is target opponent reveals cards from the top of their library until they reveal 3 creature cards. Put those cards onto the battlefield under your control. That player puts the rest into your graveyard. So the -6 is mill until you hit 3 creatures. You get them onto the battlefield. And it's pretty easy to get them because she protects herself.
Right. Yeah. No, that is the corrected version of Tasha for sure.
Yeah, it's much easier to play.
Yeah,
but yeah, it's a shame. I agree. I think Tasha's fair as a 2.
As a 2. I would actually think that I'm playing against someone new. That would be my first. Just from the experience, my first
a new player with Tasha.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, it's just, and hey, that's why we got this discussion here. It's all our experiences. Yeah.
All different worlds, right?
Mm-hmm. All right, over to the next one. Ob Nixilis, Captive Kingpin. We used this as an example earlier.
Hey, he's powerful.
He's powerful. And the most playable version of him, for sure.
Obnixilis, so 2 black-red for a 4/3 flying trample. Whenever one or more opponents each lose exactly 1 life, put a +1/+1 counter on Ob. Exile the top card of your library until your next end step. You may play that card. So I played against Obnixilis a fair amount. There's one at the office. And the thing about Obnixilis is it annoys the entire table, exiles about an eighth of your deck, and then if you're not playing like CEDH Ob, you essentially like scry 8, draw 2, kind of. Like, and then you have this terrifying Flampler that the entire table wants to murder, and you just get pinned to the wall.
Yeah.
That is my experience with Ob in casual tables.
And
it's like, it's gonna be pretty scary, but nobody's gonna let it do the thing.
No, absolutely not. They'll see it. They'll be like, oh, just like 1 damage counter. Like, okay, how often could that possibly happen? But like, yeah, once turn 4 comes around, it's just like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
There's 2 impact tremors and 2 people that say every time we cast a spell, we take a damage. Wait a minute. Whoa.
Yeah.
Right, we gotta stop them.
It like sees you a ton of cards, but most of the time you're like, okay, I have the mana to cast like 2 or 3 of them, and I've annoyed the entire table in the process.
And now they're targeting me. Yeah.
It's definitely like at the highest level, this could be a 4, and I think that's very reasonable.
Yeah.
My experience is it plays much more like a 3 because it sets a fire on one end of the table and everybody runs to put it out.
That's such a poignant like example of how we can kind of think about, at least just our ways of looking at bracket 3 and 4. It's just like, yeah, like it's a scary guy, but everyone does, like, okay, it happened once and it didn't kill us. The first time Obnixilis did the stuff, it got a lot of value and that was scary, but it didn't kill anyone. So now everyone is rushing to put out that fire, and it becomes a lot less bearable. So yeah, I could go for a 3.
It's also like the entire deck is built around Ob, right? It's like
True.
It is completely. If you remove Obnixilis, the deck falls apart.
Right. It's just a bunch of goobers that deal 1 damage.
It has a bunch of pingers. Like, you can't even run like Torbrands and stuff because it turns off Obnixilis.
Yes. No
OHare
Oxils.
It's just like like this is a less scary group slug deck than like Lord of Pain for me, because like I played against Ob enough that where it's face planted that I'm like, all right.
Just imagining, just like, listen, Obnixilis, I love him. He's a great villain. Yeah. But he's a villain in Magic, so he loses. And just imagining him just like trying to do something and just face planting. Just because you're just like, and trip.
Yeah. You do need a removal spell.
Yes.
Yeah, like if the pilot decides to send Ob your way, you do have to be able to kill it. Because it will kill you. But that's all you need.
That's all you need. Alrighty. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, I agree. That was a solid 3. All right, next one. Do I know how to say this out loud? Have you run into to this one enough?
Oh yeah, Asmarana Mardica Dynasty Kuldakar.
There we go. Yes.
Yeah.
Perfect. Love running into others who can.
We got it.
Yes.
You gotta. If you're a content creator,
100%.
you spend like at least an hour trying to figure out how to say this
100%.
one. Oh, Asmo's sweet. I don't know. I think this card's like Rakdos food is tough, and I think of it sort of as like a tchotchke deck and makes a ton of stuff. So I would call it a 3, but it's like not super pushed in our format, so I think it's probably comfortable at a 2 even.
Yeah. Because what does she do? 3/3 human wizard. As long as you discard the card this turn, pay Rakdos to cast. Oh, Asmarana. Okay. Enters battlefield. Search your library for the cookbook. Sacrifice 2 food. Yeah, and of course, like with the cookbook, it comes free with the card, right? It's on the side of this order here. So yeah, and even the cookbook isn't like the most. Yeah,
it's fine. It trades a card for a food, which is not a great rate. in Commander, and it has removal, but it's sort of hard to fuel that removal in Rakdos in my experience.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
I think this is a cool deck. I would love to see somebody.
A solid 2.
But
Yeah. What prevents it from being a 1? Like, you know, just in terms of like, is there a specific level of know-how?
So I don't think of. I think of 1s are like specific intentionality where it's like, okay, I'm building Asmo and it's all cards that sound like cooking stuff.
Okay.
Like, and I don't think the average player is going to build it as a 1. I think those exist, but I would never assume that a deck is a 1 unless somebody explicitly or the card explicitly said, like, it's all cooking stuff. Like, the only reason I would say that like a Eula could be a 1 is because the bear thing is such a theme for it, and bears are not a well-supported type.
Right.
So, like, the fact that it says you have to build around a non-supported type says that, like, I think it's fair in a highly themed world. But, like, if you're playing Asmo, I assume that you're making a lot of foods and you're trying to kill a lot of things. And you're, like, building around this sort of, like, discard maybe madness style thing.
Right.
Which is tough and is, like, a lot of bars for you to clear. So, I would probably say if you're building Asmo, it's because you like Asmo and not because she's, like, super busted.
Yeah.
So I think that's fair at a 2 or a 3.
Yep. Super.
Probably a 2.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm on that 2 train for sure. I'm on that 2 train for sure. I wonder if like there's things Magic could print that would like really buff it up, but like just Asmo and not just like all food decks, but specifically Asmo. You know. But yeah. Alrighty. Oh my god. Okay. I have actually been lucky enough to not play against this next card, Bellow, Bard of the Brambles, that often.
Oh, yeah.
But I did, for the first time, like, run into Bellow on the battlefield. I think 2 days ago, playing against a Balthair and Fran deck. So I was like, okay, cool. Like, FF12. I love FF12. My favorite one. We got some vehicles. I can't wait. And then
Bellow will beat the snot out of you.
This motherfucker. Oh my god. Why does he do so much?
Yeah. I almost built Bellow.
Yeah?
Because I was like, this is so cute. It's so fun. You can do like so many cool tricks. And it makes you play all these like expensive sort of do nothing enchantments. But instead they like really do something.
Yeah.
But the problem with Bellow is when you play Bellow, the table has to kill Bellow, and then you have to play Bellow again, or your deck doesn't do anything. So it's my experience is like ramp on 2, 4 mana thing, 4 mana thing, 4 mana thing, Bellow, attack up in combat, they kill Bellow.
Yes.
All your stuff stops being creatures. And next turn you cast Bellow and you go to combat and then they kill Bellow again. It's just, you have to get this little raccoon off the board or the deck is absolutely lethal. So I would call Bellow a 3. I don't think like you have to play a lot of inefficient cards to get Bellow really going. So I don't think there's a world where Bellow is a 4 and it just does fold to a single lightning bolt.
True.
But
true. If people are running them, which at the very least at 3s, you should be, for sure.
You should be able to answer a creature at level 3.
Yeah. I would definitely
repeatedly
agree.
I don't know.
Well,
this card's it's a powerhouse.
This card will keep on coming back. Why? Can you just tell me why they have to be indestructible? Just why that though? Like,
I don't know why they hit and draw cards.
That's
like,
yeah.
They're 4 mana. Like, they shouldn't draw cards. I don't understand why that's part of it. Like, if they turn into 4/4s that attack, you're like, sick. That's fine. They're not supposed to attack.
You know what Hilda has to do to make 4/4s and draw cards? I gotta tap things down, spend mana to tap things, and pay 1 to do that. Bellow's over here just like, yeah, she costs 1 more. And Bellow's just like, I just play Magic, I guess. It's like, all right,
I'm
cool.
here. It happens the turn I come down. It's like, yeah,
Mhm.
no, Bello's a menace for sure.
Yeah, and Chad did mention earlier, it's like Bello is along with Tasha, is one of like the canon events for a lot of people, like kind of starting off Magic, especially, I mean, amongst the commanders from Bloomburrow, which is very popular. You have Bumbleflower and Bello.
Both very powerful.
Berlin's also kind of cute too, but Bello especially. And you know, first time playing Magic, Bello, pretty cool. It actually teaches you quite a bit about Magic, like that. I appreciate
there's a lot of really
300.
complicated layer things going on with Bello.
I mean, you know, it could be a creatureless deck technically, but then all of a sudden they're creatures. But boy,
I built a deck. I built a deck where Bello was the only creature in the deck.
Oh
and, it's really cool, but you do really need Bello in play, and your opponents really don't want you to have Bello in play, which is fair.
Yeah, super fair, super fair. Alrighty, next up.
I should call it actually.
Oh,
I've got
sorry.
I've got
Oh yeah, okay, yeah.
But that's okay. I loved chatting through this stuff. This was really fun.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you so much for having me. But
This was
I've got an appointment in a little bit.
All right, perfect. Thank you. If we could actually just get a send off from you in terms of where people
I'm
can
happy
find
to.
you. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for watching, chat. I hope you guys had fun. I am online. I'm on Twitter and Blue Sky and Instagram, wherever you do those, at Rachel Weeks or some variant of that. There's no punctuation in there. I host the Command Zone podcast. I talk all about Commander, how to build decks, and we go through all the new sets, so you don't have to. That kind of thing on the Command Zone channel. We just put out a really cool sci-fi short. If you haven't seen it, you should go check it out. We put a lot into it, and it's really fun and silly and just perfect for the community. So it was not like a sponsored thing. It was just a cool thing that we wanted to make for everybody, and hope y'all enjoy it. That's called Rise of the Deck Masters. That's on our YouTube channel. You can check that out. But other than that, yeah, good. I'm glad you liked it. We had so much fun making it. I dressed up as an alien. It's like very sort of retro sci-fi type stuff. So it's fun.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you very much, Rachel. I really appreciate you coming by and doing this.
It's my pleasure. I'm sorry to cut it short.
No, it's all good. Thank you. All right, chat. Just give me a quick second to set things up. We're gonna keep on going, but I definitely just want to. Yeah, I'll be right back, chat. Thank you.
Sorry.
Alrighty, so looks like we're gonna continue this because I'm having a good time here, and I know there's a charity event going on too, but we have quite a bit of time before that. So let me actually hold on, let me think about this. Do I have? Whoop! I know everything's all topsy-turvy now. Let me just kind of. Got to turn a couple things off, and I think I can kind of keep on going. All right, perfect. Alrighty, and there we go. Not too difficult. Yeah, thank you very much, Rachel. Really appreciate that. This was fun, chat. This was fun. I'm actually gonna download this. Download image. Save. All right, cool. Tovolar bracket 2, yeah. So we're gonna keep on the discussion here. So chat, this will be even more back and forth interaction here as well, because you know I need someone to talk to. Alrighty. So now this is the Kuro list. This is the full pure Kuro list here. Pure Kuro list here. Okay, so now, chat, we can say just where we thought where the top X commanders are not. Are these the top X? So yeah, what this is What this is, a discussion of, say, for example, you're at a Magic Con, you're at the LGS, you're meeting people for the first time, right? You're just sitting down to play a game, okay? Now, so you're sitting down, you have your quiver full of decks, right? You have your brackets 1 through 5 decks on you. Now, someone comes in and says, I'm playing Bellow, right? I'm playing Bellow. Now, this is before you have a deeper conversation, before someone says like, oh yeah, this is like bracket 4 Bellow, I'm just doing blah blah blah, or, you know, oh, I'm only using this or that, or any other caveats. Before any of that, chat, it is just seeing the commander per your own personal experience, from your own knowledge of how this commander works, how this commander runs. Twilight, thank you for the follow. Your own personal takes. Where are you clocking? What deck are you immediately reaching for, right? So when someone says like, oh, I'm playing Bellow, you're going to go like, oh, hey, cool. Yeah, I have a Marchesa the Black Rose, right? Then you have the further discussion, right? You both go like, hey, my Marchesa is about doing this. Their Bellow is about doing that. Before you have that deeper discussion, what are you up? You know, where are you considering this deck? And that's all it is. Commander is the worst, classic or nothing. Yeah, so that's what this discussion is. Part of it, you know, a lot of it is just like your own personal, it's all your own personal take, right? There's no definitive bracket list or anything, but it's about just like your comfort. You know, when someone says, hey, I have a Tovolar, right? I have a Tovolar. Okay, well, I see a Tovolar, and let me read off Tovolar for us actually. Tovolar, 1 green and a red for a 3/3 human werewolf. Whenever a wolf or werewolf you control deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. At the beginning of your upkeep, if you control 3 or more wolves and their werewolves, it becomes night, and transfer any number of human werewolves you want. And then you transform into Tovolar the Midnight Scourge. 4/4 werewolf. Whenever a wolf or werewolf you control deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. X green and the red to overrun, or not to Keswick Wolf run. Or a single target wolf or werewolf, right? So that's what I like. I read the Tovolar. I personally, like, I'm not a Tovolar player, but I really like Tovolar. I appreciate what Tovolar has done for werewolves, especially because werewolves were in such a bad place before their only viable commander was Rorik Thar, okay? So in terms of Tovolar, and my experience with Tovolar and how much I like him, I like Tovolar. And I would personally just kind of go straight for a 3. I respect the deck. I respect Tovolar a lot. I'm seeing bracket 3 with Tovolar automatically, right? So if someone says, hey, I have my Tovolar deck, I say, that's awesome. I have my I mean, I can say my Merfolk deck. I think Merfolk, especially like well made, can be a 3 for sure. I would definitely say like, hey, I have my Marchesa the Black Rose deck here, because I view this as a 3. And then we can further talk about like, okay, yeah, I'm running this. I have, you know, it's a $20 budget deck, blah 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 blah, right? But then I can pull back. But my initial stance is my bracket 3 Marchesa list for sure. You put them in bracket 1. I disagree. I think that the way Tovolar is, how popular werewolves are, and how well Tovolar can make werewolves run, I just don't see him as a bracket 1. I mean, werewolves, you know, they're not the most powerful creatures, you know, certainly not. But I think if anyone went online to just find the top 100, the top 30 werewolves, that's easily able to contend with other typal decks. Easily. At least in my opinion. And I think that Tovolar allows werewolves to be the typal deck that they're supposed to be. That's definitely how I see them for sure. There's also barely any werewolf movies, so I kind of want to put it in 1. Yeah. Then they somehow do 15 to 20 damage to your face by using, well, exactly, right, like, exactly. It's like we feel as though werewolves don't do anything, but like, nah, they do something here. So no, Tovolar for me is definitely maybe mid, high, low, you know, maybe like a mid bracket 3, but I respect it enough to be in the bracket 3 realm. if you're choosing the best 30 werewolves in Magic, and Tovolar is there leading them, turning them on to be their best selves, I think that you're a bracket 3. You're definitely not bracket 1. You're definitely not bracket 1. I don't think, like, Bear Typal is beating the best 30 werewolves in Magic. I just don't think that's true. He also gets shut down by Catilda. You are right about that. You are right. There is, you know, the deck does have a silver bullet, and Catilda, human land mana ramp Typal. I mean, like, I guess. Like, I suppose. Werewolf synergize so well for aggro, going insane amounts of plus XO. Exactly. No, I would say that Tovolar is a bracket 3. For sure. If I'm using 30 werewolves already, might as well give access to white with Voja. Well, that's for werewolves. Werewolves don't trigger with Voja. So, I don't know about that. Okay. So that's where I'm putting Tovolar. On to our next one. Oops. That's yeah, Tovolar there. Sithis Harvest Hand. Alright, now Sithis Harvest Hand, I think we've all run into a Sithis deck before, or at the very least, like, Enchantress. Sithis is like the quintessential Enchantress commander deck. If a brand new player says they want to play Enchantress, Sithis is the first person they'll see. If an experienced player says, like, I want to build the best Enchantress deck, Sithis is the commander that they're going to choose. Sithis, green and white for a 1/2 enchantment creature, nymph. Whenever you cast an enchantment spell, you gain a life and draw a card. And also, like, there is a little bit of, like, the attractiveness factor. She's very pretty, right? Like, this is a beautiful piece of art. It has appealing abilities, appealing art, appealing cost. 2 costs? That's a very appealing cost. This is an attractive piece of art here, and a lot of people gravitate for all of those reasons together. Chad is saying, like, an automatic 4. I'm agreeing. Automatic 4. No way to make it fair and not pop off. There is a way to do it if you just run the worst enchantments, but I think in modern day Magic, with the prevalence of content creators, with the prevalence of content just around Sithis, I'm not even just saying EDH Rec, right? But even if you did look at EDH Rec and you just like, if you went to EDH Rec and took a D20, just like, because EDH Rec gives you over 100 cards to look at, right? If you went to EDH Rec and took a D20 and just rolled dice and said, like, okay, the 16th card I see on EDH Rec I'm gonna put in this deck, and you just keep on rolling and rolling, you will still make probably a high 3. It's hard, man. It's hard not to. It's hard not to just fall into accidentally the upper echelons. And I think that's one of the reasons why our first card with Light Paws is a bracket 4. Right? Because it's just so hard looking at the abilities on your commander and not just making a bracket 4 list. It's so difficult. It's so difficult to not stumble into it because, hey, listen, I mean, Light Paws just tutors up other auras. This card just says play auras, and it's like, okay, well, I'll play auras. I guess they might as well be like decent auras. Oh no, I've drawn through half my deck, it positively, and I have a big board state full of auras. Oops. Once played against her on turn 5, there were 6 to the power of 8 creatures coming at me. Yeah, but even the worst enchantments give you card and life advantage. Exactly. She's just annoying. She's always there and never worth removing because you have to deal with whatever horrid enchantment they put out for it. You get it, Twilight. 100%. If you build fair, your bad enchantments are at least cantrips. Exactly. Chat, you get it. So I think we're pretty firmly on the 4 here for her. I think we're pretty firmly on the 4 here. I think we're at that. I think we're at that for sure. Yeah. Alrighty. On to our next one. See, chat, thank you for still being here, like, through the discussion too. I really appreciate this. Arabu. Roar. Why is that hard? War. I don't know. Arabubu, as I like to call them. Roar of the Wild. 3 green and the white for a 5/5 cat avatar. Eminence. Ooh, Eminence. At the beginning of combat on your turn, if Arabao, Roar of the Wild is in your command zone or on the battlefield, another target cat you control gets +3/+3 until end of turn. And whenever another cat you control attacks, you may pay 3. If you do, it gains trample and +X/+X for X is its power. Now, I mean, I've been playing Commander for a long enough time. I was definitely there. Do not speak to me the ancient words, which I was there when it was written. I was there when Arbo was first released. So I've played a decent amount against Arbo. Yeah, it's Eminence. I get you, but it's literally easily one of the most tame Eminence abilities. It's so tame. Arbo is so tame in the Eminence department that people forget it half as many times as they remember it. I'm just saying. There are like, you will see times where you go to combat and you just go like, okay, all right, so here I guess my cats are getting +1/+1 from that, and then retreat to whatever, and I put a cat into play and +1/+1 counters. All right, I'll go to combat and swing with this much. Oh my god, right. One cat gets +3/+3. It's like that happens so often, right? Arabal. Can I help you make a Katara deck list for EDH? That will be in the future. When the Avatar set starts coming out, Envy, that's when we'll start doing those deck decks. But not now would be a bad time. It would be a waste of time to make a Katara deck now. Arabal's a solid 3. You got to do a lot of damage. Yeah, I would say yeah. I think because cats are pretty tame. Just cats, right? Not cats and dogs, but just cats. And this is clearly the most like popular just cat deck. Green white, I think it's pretty tame. I think we're okay in a solid 3. Solid 3. Rashima, well, Twilight, yes. A solid 3. A solid 3 for Arbal. I'm feeling that one, right? Yeah. Solid 3. It's definitely not a 4. You know, you can make a 4 if you so chose, but I think if anyone just kind of walks up to you at a con and just says, I have an Arabelle deck, I'll pull out a bracket 3 to be like, all right, maybe Typal versus Typal. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I would default to. Hey, listen, I would love to see werewolves versus cats. Like, that's within the same realm. You know what I mean? About, like, just kind of where Tovalar's abilities are and where Arabelle is. I'm watching cats and werewolves fight each other and seeing, like, yeah, I think this is actually pretty equal ground. Where's Tiny Bones Bobble Burglar? A 3, actually. It's strange. Yeah, no, we like specifically called a 3. Yep. Yeah. I mean, what chat? How's your depiction? Your interaction with the Arabelle? Hitting those 3s? Because that's where they are for me. Especially the fact that people just forget that the Eminence ability is there. Thank you very much for the follow, Grims. I appreciate that. Everyone tonight, thank you very much for the follows and everything like that. I wanted to make sure that the discussion kept on going, so I didn't call them out. But I really do appreciate all the follows, all the likes, the roses, and the everything. Truly, thank you so much. Run Arabelle. It would never stand up to 4s. There you go. There you go. Stars and Stripes gets it. Yep. You straight up run Arabelle, and you know that it ain't going up to 4. Alrighty. Let's go on to the next one. We got... Oh... the quintessential black white aristocrat commander, Teysa Karlov. My girl, my number 1, absolutely. Teysa Karlov, 2 white and a black for a 2/4. If a creature dying causes a triggered ability of a permanent you control to trigger, do it again. Creature tokens you control have vigilance and lifelink. Yep. I'm actually looking over my bank account. I talked to you about a Brawl demon list for Brawl. Honestly, for Tovalar Werewolves, I'm very intrigued. Tovalar is very fun. Tovalar is very, very fun. We can look at that in a future date. She reads as a 3/4, but no one builds her right. I would say, I mean, so you're saying that she reads as a 3/4, but no one builds her right. So where would she be if she was built right, would you say? She's simple and gives loads of ranges to build super unique decks. I run Teysa. I agree with that. She is a pretty good base level. Like, as a commander, it's like, boom, here's what you're working with. And then here's a billion tools. And, you know, it's like a Lego set. Honestly, Teysa is a very Lego set commander. It's Christmas Day. You know, you get a Lego set for Christmas. There's instructions if you really want on how to build it, but honestly, like, you just got new Lego pieces to put together. And I would say Teysa is like that. If you build aristocrats, right, it's at a 4. just because it plays on the axis that most casual decks can't play on. True, right? Most casual decks don't have the abilities to, like, say, hey, instead of dying, it's exile, right? There's some cards that say, like, oh, if it dies, it goes to exile, but you specifically have to run that axis of, instead of dying, it's exile, you know, instead of that. Or you got to keep on putting down all of these creatures that have death triggers, right? And then you're dealing with token strategies, most likely, for all the aristocratic stuff. So I would say, like, it's certainly not 2, right? Teysa's not a 2. Because of, right, the axis that she's playing on is not a 2. No, right? But a 3? Yeah. Definitely no less than a 3. No less than a 3. We're not dealing with 3.5s. We're not dealing with 3.5s or anything like that. Ultimately, the average Teysa deck is a 3. Okay, how do you compare the average Teysa deck to the average Krenko deck? This is what I'm looking at, right? Not the average Goblin deck, but specifically the average Krenko Goblin deck. With the, like, your commander does this, okay? Your deck is full of these things because your commander does this, okay? Now, if you combine these things that your commander does and a commander that doubles all of those things, where are you placing her? Personally, a dude that's out there cranking is probably a turn or 2 faster. But, well, Teysa maybe lets you survive, like, all those ping damages, though, right? Does Dalthi Voidwalker stop death triggers? I think it doesn't. I don't think it does. Put her a high 3? Sure. Krenko mogs. You think, oh, Krenko, I fear Krenko's mogging. Okay. Chat seems to be, I mean, high 3. But that, yeah, Krenko and Teysa are separate. I definitely think that, like, Krenko is definitely a step above in terms of, like, in the comparison between the two. Krenko is more straightforward with the abilities. I do agree with, like, the axis that, I mean, certainly not a tier 2, right? Like, bracket 2s aren't dealing with what Teysa's putting out. And also most answers that bracket 2s have to creature-based things is board wipes, which is specifically what Teysa wants you to do, right? So that would be really, like, way too good for bracket 2. Are we just saying a solid 3? Poe, love you too, bud. Why is Ob Nixilis in 3? Ob Nixilis is in 3 because if you take out Ob Nixilis, the rest of the deck itself isn't doing a lot. It's a bunch of pingers that ping for 1, and once you take out Ob Nixilis, that makes those pings mean something. It's just a bunch of pingers that ping for 1. That's why Ob Nixilis is 3. But Teysa, we're saying 3. It's red, which means it goes faster. Oh, that's so true. So true, Redacted. Yeah. Yeah, that's fair. But with him, it's a 5. Sometimes. Glockness. I would, you know, sometimes. But not the average. Not necessarily the average. Well, you have to be at least a bracket 3. And if you stop Ob Nixilis, you're dealing with a deck that could be within the bracket 3 realm. And same with Teysa, honestly, right? Like, if you're I think Teysa decks are good because when Teysa comes out, she's doubling those abilities. But just those singular abilities aren't enough to necessarily win, right? Like, ping for 1 day, you know, Zulaport Cutthroat on 1, that's just like an average card, you know? Zulaport Cutthroat, you sacrifice 3 creatures, has 3 damage to the board. You know, that's just magic. That's just how magic goes, right? We're not really clamoring for, you know, you don't gotta kill the Zulaport Cutthroat just because they're pinging once, right? But when Teysa is out and they're pinging twice, now that 3 turns into a 6 and all they lost was 3 creatures. That's a much bigger chunk and much more threatening. Lathro's definitely a 4. We'll get to Lathro. But, like, actually though, correct. Yeah, so Teysa, I agree with chat with Teysa being a solid 3. A solid 3. Let's move on. Asterion, the Decadent. Now, chat, again, this is not about how you are necessarily building them, but Asterion, beloved character, right? Asterion is one of the best on-ramps into getting someone who likes Baldur's Gate 3 to like Magic the Gathering, right? He is a gateway drug into Magic the Gathering for a lot of people, right? For many, many reasons, all of them very hot. So when you go against Astarion, right? When the average person sits down and says, I have my Astarion deck, and you're at a Magic-Con, where are you automatically putting that deck into your brain, right? Any higher than a 3? I think a 3 is fair. Astarion's my GOAT in Baldur's Gate 3, but per thing, he's a high 2. Bro is glazing Astarion? Oh, what Astarion does for Magic? Absolutely. I will glaze it. Don't get it wrong, because I'm not glazing Astarion. He was one of my least favorite characters in Baldur's Gate 3, okay? But I'm also a straight dude. But, like, glazing what Astarion does for Magic? 100%. 100%, dude. 100%. He's done wonders for the game. He's entirely way too much mana and can be removed. He's a 2. Fair. I could see that. Yeah. I'm actually with that. Especially with what I'm saying about, like, newer players playing with them, right? Getting into Magic with them. I think it's actually pretty fair that the average person, when they walked out with an Astarion deck, is actually maybe just, like, would have also gotten a precon, right? Like, a precon would have been played the same, with, like, the same experience as they do the Astarion deck. I would, yeah, I'm down for that. I'm super down for that. 6 right, 6 mana is wild. So when you look at Astarion, right, it's like 6 mana for Astarion to do the thing. And yeah, Astarion does, like, he can win. So 6 mana to maybe win the game isn't the most unreasonable thing, chat. Like, let's be honest. But all the pieces that are building up to Astarion coming in and winning at turn 6, you can see them. You can interact with them. You can slow them down. I think with that in mind, yeah, a bracket 2 is probably where he does. And the ability only targets one player. Yeah, no, super fair. Bracket 2, yeah, that's fine by me. Also, back to Teysa. A Lend of the Dusk Rose is insane for Vampire Tap, and Teysa makes it worse. Correct. Yeah, I think Astarion is a perfectly fine bracket 2, and that's not a bad thing. It's not tier 2, right? It's not everything here is, 3 and below are bad. But I'd say that you can arguably say, hey, someone says they walk up with Astarion, you can pull out a bracket 2 deck and be like, hey, let's compare these two. All right, next up, Geissenstarn Kellermorph. Yeah, I ain't trusting the Geller. At first, when Geissenstarn first came out, I was a little bit more like, hey, fine, fine. But with now that, like, the novelty of, like, a brand new Commander deck has worn off, so, like, now it's like anyone who's building Geissenstarn, in my opinion, is building a specific deck, right? A specific deck is being built with Geissenstarn, and that deck which gets a new piece that's just perfectly fine for it every single, like, 2-set card that makes the Geissenstarn deck better. Nah, at this point, nah, he's a 4 at least. He's a 4 at least. But he's crazy in general. 100%. He takes 50 decks to make the deck of bracket 4 is super nice. Yeah, for sure. Mad annoying. I mean, Vivi. I mean, sure. Yeah. Oh my god. I mean, yeah. Why not? Right? Dude just made this deck stronger. I mean, even Weftwalker Ardent in the brand new Edge of Eternity set. It's a dude that triggers on creatures and artifacts entering, deals 1 damage to everyone. It's just like, okay, like, did we need to do that? Sure, I guess. Yeah, I'm saying Geissenstarn is 4, right? Can I ask how this is so high powered? So Geissenstarn, I should read the card. Thank you. Geissenstarn 1 blue-red for a 3/2 Tyrannid human. Ward 2, which puts removing is a little bit more annoying than it should be. Whenever another source you control deals exactly 1 damage to a permanent or player, Geissenstarn deals 2 damage to that permanent or player. So I know that, like, Omnixilus we put in, like, the bracket 4 because it's just a deck full of pingers, and once you take out the commander, it's just a deck full of pingers, right? It's just like that's all it is. Geist and Starn should be like have the same argument. It's just a deck full of pingers, and once Geist and Starn is gone, it ain't a deck full of pingers anymore. The thing is, Geist and Starn comes out earlier, right? Has more options for pingers that deal damage, right? Although I guess they're all just sharing blue ones, or sorry, red ones. Blue doesn't really add that much more. So let me a couple more. But the option for pingers, I think, are just maybe a little bit higher in blue-red. But also, you have access to counter spells, so you have better ways to keep your commander on the battlefield. The Ward 2 makes it harder to interact with them. And he costs 3, so he does come out sooner and more often. With all that in mind, and, oh yes, these spells, the things that deal 1 damage to all creatures, you have access to more of them in Gears and Starn, because you have the guys that say they ping every time a non-creature spell is played, right? Every time you cast an instant, deal 1 damage to everyone. You could build an Ob Nixilis deck that's doing that, but honestly, it's probably more permanent based. You have more spells. Those spells might, be counter spells. Someone goes to kill your commander for Gears and Starn, you counter it, and you deal 1 damage, which turns into 3 damage. The 3 damage is killing people more than the exile that Ob Nixilis is doing. So that's kind of like the separation between the two. I put Gears and Starn higher than Obi Trice. And the addition of blue keeps your commander around longer. Non-creature spells being cast makes your commander deal more damage, and again, you're taking 3 damage, and you're losing far sooner. I would say Gears and Starn is a 4, for sure. It's crazy consistent damage. Berkey makes this deck a 5. Yeah, there you go. You have protection. Preach. There we go. So, like, Voltron? No. There's no Voltron in Gears and Starn. Gears and Starn is just dealing 2 damage, right? Like, maybe Gears and Starn... the only Voltron you put on Gears and Starn is Lifelink or something. That's it. You don't... But Gears and Starn could be a 20/20. It would make no difference, right? It's all about the fact that you're dealing 3 damage every single time you blink. Every single time you blink, 3 damage is dealt to your opponents. That is the damage. And Vivi goes into 99. True. That too. Damage instead of artifact. Right. Yeah. He's a CDH level commander. I see him pulling out Timno Thrasios. Hey, and that's your experience. Stars and Stripe. Your experience with enough Gears and Starns is bracket 5. I don't play enough bracket 5. Probably why there's not really neither Rachel don't play that much bracket 5. So that's why we don't really have something in the bracket 5 list. But yeah, my experience with Gears and Starns, definitely a 4. No less than a 4. I need to bring out a bracket 4 deck in order to contend with what a Gears and Starn is doing. Because if I brought out a bracket 2 precon, I'm just like, what am I doing, right? And if I bring out a bracket 3, I bring out my own, I bring out my Hilda deck. No, bro. No, dude. Don't even, come on. What are you talking about? Played against too many Gears and Starn decks, and they make me want to gouge my eyes. Exactly. I'm not gouging my eyes out for anything less than a bracket 4. Like, you have all these cards that boost damage with Starn, so kind of damage Voltron. No. Well, you're not boosting the damage. You have all these cards to boost damage with Starn, so kind of it is Voltron in terms of, like, you're building a deck that makes your commander trigger its ability, which isn't Voltron, right? Voltron is like, your commander is fine, it just needs to hit harder physically, and you kill them. This is a deck that we're building around triggering our commander. So it's like pseudo Voltron, but, like, more in the, like, synergy package. What about Black Panther? Black Panther was on my list of green light cards to talk about, but I reduced it to just 2. I'm doing 2 of every color. 2 of every color is what this list is. So we will. I mean, listen, Chad. This was fun. So I might do this again. Might have another guest on where we do tier lists and we just cover commanders that we just didn't cover this time, and eventually we will cover Black Panther. All right, next up, Mizzix of the Ismagus. Is Olivia Voldaren on the list? No. Olivia Voldaren pretty tame. Very tame at this point. Alright. Mizzix of the Ismagus 2. Blue and a red for a 2/2 Goblin Wizard. Whenever you cast an instant sorcery spell with mana value greater than the number of experience counters you have, you get an experience counter. Instants and sorceries you cast cost 1 less to cast for each experience counter you have. Now, I have myself a Mystics of the Ismagus deck, right? Chat, I have that deck myself. And let me tell you, this bitch is a 3. It's a 3. It's a 3. For a deck that's trying to specifically trigger Mystics of the Ismagus, right? Like, it's, you know, it is a blue-red Spellslinger deck, right? It is. But the reason you chose Mystics to be your commander instead of just like Gearson Starn, instead of Niv Mizzet, instead of insert other blue-red Spellslinger deck here. The reason you chose Mystics of the Ismagus to be your commander instead of just any other Spellslinger commander is because you're trying to mess around with experience counters. In my experience, especially with how I play the deck, I like X cost cards, right? Because X will always be basically how many experience counters you have. Now, to make Mystics work, you need to have Mystics out, and then you have to cast spells in a pseudo cascading order to get higher and higher and higher. Now, if you still have a Mystics after all these years, I'm assuming she's attuned for it. There you go. There you go, Redacted. Yes. If someone pulls out Mystics 8 times out of 10, I think it's because someone has played Mystics and they've built Mystics to be what Mystics is. If someone says they're having trouble with Mystics, that's one thing. But if someone is at a con and you're a brand new stranger and they say, okay, like the deck that I'm going to pull out to play with a stranger at a Magic convention is Mystics, it is a Mystics deck that has a purpose, right? It's not a brand new deck that they're trying out. It is a deck that they have experience with. And with that in mind, I think it's a 3, right? Hey, Majir. How you doing? Wouldn't you be more comfortable playing mono black? Wouldn't I be playing more comfortable playing mono black? Why? I'm not a mono black girly, to be honest. Truly, I ain't mono black. If you still have them, yeah. So Mystics, I'm putting bracket 3. I know how hard it is for Mystics to get going. I know how many times I have to roll the dice on people just not looking at Mystics. Listen, guys, just don't look at Mystics. I'm not doing anything. I don't even have experience counters. I know how close I go to the sun to play Mystics. I ain't breaking out of bracket 3. I'm just not. I ain't breaking out of bracket 3. What happened to Rachel? Rachel had to go. Jaleva. I would be scared. Honestly, someone playing Jaleva nowadays and not the sub commander with Jaleva, Nekusar scares me. Nah, Jaleva scares me. Nah. Jaleva puts fear in my heart. Jaleva puts fear in my heart. I'm not going any less than bracket 3 for Jaleva. Just straight up. All right, so that's Mystics of the Ismagus. I think that this is a bracket 3 only because anyone who's playing Mystics right now is building Mystics with a purpose, and I think that it's reasonable to say that you want to have more than what a pre-con level worth of interaction can drum up in order to stop it. Because once Mystics gets going, like, you know, she gets going, it just takes a bit to get there. What other platform are we streaming on? Twitch and YouTube. Alrighty, next up card. Lathril, Blade of the Elves. I have a Lathril deck box. Lathril, Blade of the Elves. Alright. At least a 4. I won turn 3 with her yesterday. Chat, in your experience, in your lived experience, where are we putting Lathril, Blade of the Elves, huh? Where? Why the heck is Tally in the bracket 4, bro? Because you can't trust anyone that walks up to you with a Talion deck. Because you simply can't trust them. The better elves, I say 3? Really? Lathril over Glaze. Really? A 4, but a low 4? I slightly more votes for 4 than 3. I'm kind of Elf Ball with access to black. I'm kind of going for 4. Is my deck just built better than most? I mean, yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, in terms of my experience, Lancaster, yeah, that's probably exactly what it is. Yeah. Lathril is pretty linear. Lathril is very linear, but the path to get to Lathril, it's super linear that, like, anyone can do it. And you can still win, right? Like, you can still win with, like, a Lathril super linear deck. I've never seen Talion not CDH. This is the best Dimir commander in CDH at the moment. My and Rachel experience with CDH is lower. Which is it is a bracket 4 with a major side eye of this person is probably playing CDH, but they're calling it bracket 4. It's 4 with side eye. It's 4 with the side of eye. Yeah. Elf Ball is always 4 unless you're bad at building. I honestly agree with that. I think in modern day Magic, with the prevalence of what elves are able to do, the prevalence of how easy it is to find good Lathril decks online, if you look up if you look up Lathril Commander, if you look up Elves Magic, you will come away with certainly a bracket 3 elf list. And then with a little bit, just the merest bit of experience playing elves, I think you can bring it to a 4. Obnix is also probably bracket 5. Yeah, just our experience outside of bracket 5 makes him a 3. Yeah. Yeah, Lennar Elves, Quarian Ranger, and Marin are all the same, all in the same hand. It's like same game yesterday. Yeah, that's crazy. Better Elf Ball is Voja, which is funny. I mean, it is fun. It is wild that a better Elf Ball is Voja, but man, we out here. I did not put Voja to be graded on this list. That's for sure. But yeah, we're saying bracket 4. I kind of compare Lathril with Krenko in terms of just like, hey, this is a typo deck that is going so full force forward, it's hard to be anything less than a 4 to like safely contend with it, right? Much less beat it. Much less beat the Lathril deck, but to safely contend with it, I think we have to be at a pod where people are playing with bracket 4 intents. But both are definitely 4. Yeah, for sure. Yep. Alrighty. On to Marin of Clan Neltoth. Now, Marin used to be like the bee's knees, right? 2 black and a green, 3/4 human shaman. Whenever another creature you control dies, put an experience counter on it. You get an experience counter. At the beginning of your end step, choose target creature card in your graveyard. If that card's mana value is less than or equal to the number of experience counters you have, return it to the battlefield. Otherwise, put it into your hand. I mean, Marin used to be the quintessential Golgari Queen, right? She used to be the boogeyman of black green. And now she's reprinted in precons. I don't think she has it anymore, personally. 3 worse than Yagra? Oh, I mean, yeah, right. She is the bar. She is the bar, though. That is a good point to say, Maja. She is the bar in which we compare everything to, as far as black green goes. And I think at the very least, not a 2. I don't think 2s can deal with that. No, I don't think 2s can deal with Marin of Clan Neltoth. I don't think so. It's a lot of creatures that you just kind of keep on getting. Yeah, Swords Her and GG. I mean, she can still play card. I mean, self-mill, self-sacrifice. I mean, black green still has like things to do in a Mizzix deck. Yeah. Genesis Gift. Mare does solid mid 3. Also, Yagra is at least 4. It didn't build a normal though. Yeah. Yeah, I think that Marin is just like a 3. I know like we're defaulting to 3 being like this ultimate medium, but in my experience, like I feel as though Marin I think she's a 3. I think she's a 3. I think that I would be pseudo comfortable with pulling out a Hilda Ice Queen deck just to see what happens. Yeah, I'm going 3, but like a low 3 though. Tuther, yeah, Tuther's right. Imagine her singing Beyonce version for some reason, right? Yagra's just better with cards like Academy and Nuka-Cola Vending Machine. Yeah, but we're not talking about Yagra though, right? Two mana cards can deal with her. Yeah. This is me being silly. Don't pay attention. Okay, you agree with the 3. All right, fair enough. Alrighty. Marin of Clan Neltoth. She's fallen off, right? She's fallen off where she used to be. Where she used to be was like, you know, a modern day 4. I would easily say a modern day 4 is where she used to be, but I think that she's good now. Or at least like there's so many better options that are kind of outclassing her, where I don't have to automatically think that she's a 4. Although I do fear. I'm giving it a little side eye as I do it. Alrighty. Prosper Tomebound. Taryn, we're only going over some of the cards that I've already chosen. And we've already gone over Rakdos, sadly. This is something that we can do in the future though, Taryn. I might do a poll. Maybe I'll do some polls on the social medias to kind of judge, to figure out which ones we should do next. We'll get a Catherall respect. Yeah, Catherall's pretty good. All right, Arabella. Now, we've all played against the Arabella deck, chat. I know we have. Don't lie. I know we have. We've all played against Arabella. I think she's one of the most popular commanders. I think she's the most popular Boros commander currently. Now, of all the, we've all played a game against Arabella. If you were to play against an Arabella deck again, someone random comes up to you at a MagicCon, pulls out, boom, an Arabella deck right here on the table. Before you discuss, before they say what type of deck it is, budget, bracket, whatever, before any of that, what bracket deck are you pulling out to go like, okay, let's compare notes? That's what this bracket list is for. Arabella's cringe? Nah, she's fine. She's the new Kalia, though. If someone has Delny in it, it's a 5. I pull out a 3. Comic Tutor. This is before we know what's in the deck, right? This is just a pure on your vibes, your personal visceral reaction to seeing an Arabella. 3 to 4-ish. I'm definitely picking a deck that can handle aggro. And for you, KP, where does that lie? Because you can have a bracket 2 aggro deck, or at least like a bracket 2 handle aggro deck, right? But at the same time, we gotta remember Arabella's abilities. Red and the white for a 1/3 toy. Whenever Arabella attacks, deals X damage to each opponent, so it does hit everyone. So because she's dealing damage to everyone, you have to remember that, like, hey, multiple people are probably gonna want to get in on dealing with Arabella. X damage to each opponent, and you gain X life, where X is the number of creatures you control with power 2 or less. So this is a deck full of creatures that have power 2 or less, right? It is a deck that has, if Arabella is not the one dealing damage to you, right? Other than Arabella dealing damage, are those 2 power creatures really doing a lot? Are they just there as pretty ornaments, right? So with that in mind, and again, your own personal experience, where are you putting Arabella? Totally depends on the deck. I'd say 3 more because you can just deal with her. Right, yeah. She can be blocked, right? She can be blocked. There's ways for her to get around it, and you can almost guarantee that the deck has those ways, but they don't always have those ways. She can be blocked. There are definitely times where she doesn't attack because she doesn't have any good attacks. It's hard to politics with her, right? It's hard to politics with someone that deals damage to everyone, right? So if it gets down the wire, and one person is winning and the other 2 players are like, hey, I'm at like 10 life, but we'll work together to defeat, Krenko or Zuladoc, and it's just like, okay, well, Arabella, you just can't swing anymore. That's kind of like lowers the bracket I think that she'll be in, right? Or at least like it affects the fact that she is stoppable, or she just can't stop doing her own thing, Put in formable, but maybe I just have met demonic Arabella players. Yeah. 4, you're bringing guns. That's reasonable. I say she wants to be Crater Hoof. Yeah. She does want to be creator. Oh my goodness. Camera? Hello? So yeah, where are we feeling, chat? Oh my goodness. Camera, hello? What a weird thing to happen. If she was unblockable, I'd say 4. Well, I mean, yeah, of course, if she was unblockable, that'd be a different card. That's like an unnecessary power spike in this card's abilities. Your camera's on strike, honestly. Did not like what we had to say about Arabella. Hey, Jessica, thank you very much for the raid. Appreciate you. No way is it a 4? No, you're saying no way a 4? She's unionized? Yes. Some are saying 4. Others are saying there's no way she's a 4. You're bringing out a bracket 4 deck. Hey, Raiders, welcome everyone. Welcome. Bracket 4. I have seen enough Arabella decks piloted by enough of a range of skill of players. I'm going to say a 3. A 3 that I need to watch, right? But in terms of like how experienced I can trust any single player who plays Arabella, it's not, you know, it's not the highest thing, right? Like I don't have to automatically rate every single Arabella deck and their pilot to being like the best Magic player, nor do I need to assume that, like, you know, every single card in there is just like such an easy mode card. Even if you're bad at or new at Magic, you know, the cards just play themselves, unlike Lathril, so, or Krenko, or Light Paws. And the deck doesn't play itself. You still, you know, you gotta have a decent deck, and you gotta make the deck kind of like work in your favor. So I'm gonna say a 3, and maybe a high 3, whatever that nebulously means, but a 3 nonetheless. If I see Arabella, I draw my Krenko in terror. Just pull out my Krenko. Yeah. Jessica, it's good to see you, bud. 3, a 4 in Joe's hands. Correct. Everything's a 4 in Joe's hands, though. I mean, you see, we have Teysa Karlov in here at a 3. The only Arabella you fought was an easy 4. Yikes. All right, next one, chat. Feather the Redeemed. Now, we might have played it. I would say that, like, we definitely all played against Feather decks if we played against her when she was in Standard, right? When Feather was in Standard, she was very popular in Commander as well, and she kind of still is. Definitely still is. I think she's like the second most popular Boros deck. Actually, now that I think about it, is Boros? I don't know. Yeah. Yeah. Boros is a little bit hampered, but Feather, red, white for a 3/4 angel, flying. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell that targets a creature you control, exile that card instead of putting it into your graveyard. As a result, if you do, return to the battlefield at the beginning of your end step. Of the next end step, sorry. Even better. Beer, being in the food, okay. This card is amazing in Standard, but in Commander? No, in Commander, Stripes is really good. Never played against a Feather, I see, but from her card and decks, I would say low 4. Well, this is not. Oh yeah, Feather the Redeemed. I mean, I've definitely played against her in Standard. I've seen how easy it was to go over into Commander with it. Yeah. It's like if you get rid of her, it doesn't stop it. She goes 3. I would say a 3. Yeah. I'd say a 3. Yeah, I'd say 3. She's fun, but I'd say a 3. Yeah, I agree with a 3. I agree with a 3 here. Yeah. I've never seen a Feather deck win. Really? Kill one player. Yes, definitely kill one player for sure. But then, yeah, the other two have been, like, probably not as interrupted by everything Feather does. So it's like they got to build that board state, take, you know, Aiden taking down, like, the real threat, and then, yeah. Her playstyle is so obvious. Well, it is so obvious, but it's hard to interrupt, right? I mean, like, it's kind of like Light Paws, where, like, Light Paws is obvious, but you play one aura, and then the next thing you know, there's a protection from players enchantment on them, you know? But Feather, at the very least, is instant speed. It's not equipment or enchantments. It's just like an instant speed card. Indestructible, hexproof, etc. But Feather is a good one. I like Feather a lot. Daddy Feather, what? The Boros player of my pods are crazy girly. Yeah, I believe it. I'd rather she's a 2. The telegraph is real and she can't kill the whole table at once. Yeah, but she won't likely win a game. Probably take out one player. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I've also, you know, I've learned to fear Feather, but I also haven't really seen her win the game per se. Not unless it was a couple of years ago. Okay. All right. Yeah, I could see the 2. I can see the 2 part there, for sure. For sure. All right, next one. Listen, I know that's Hackball the Surging Soul, but I'm a Kamena Tyrant of Vraska enjoyer. Just saying. Just saying. For real, just saying. Yeah. She's an easy 4 at the time also. Yeah. Hackball of the Surging Soul. 2 in a green-blue for a 3/3 Merfolk Scout at the beginning of combat on your turn. Each Merfolk creature you control explores. Whenever Hackball of the Surging Soul attacks, you may put a land from your hand onto the battlefield. If you don't, draw a card. Yeah. He's pretty gross. I respect him and not fear her. Yeah. Kamena is better, but it's a 2/1 would say. Yeah. That's a yeah. I have only things the evils. Yeah, only evil things to say about Hackball. A lot of people have faced against Hackball, and it's been rough. Okay, I'm not gonna deny it. Hackball is a rough card to play against. You know, Merfolk themselves are not the best kindred. I have a Merfolk deck literally right here that I'm about to like upgrade and try to like modernize. Although obviously I should wait until Lanimar, but here we are. I should be modernizing this Kamena deck. Hackball feels like a 3 minimum. Definitely a 3 minimum. I mean, certainly not bracket 2 because that was a commander. That was a precon, right? I would say bracket 3. I mean, it's kind of crazy because Merfolk, as I said, aren't the best cards in the world. But just because of the explore and just exploring the whole board, that plus and plus encounter is like horrifying. Like people are losing their minds over the Hackball plus and plus encounter synergies and abilities it has, you know? I'd say it's easily interactable, but Merfolk is kind of interaction typal. It is, yeah. I mean, that's one of the coolest things about Merfolk that I like is that they are interaction typal on their cards themselves. So, with Hackball's plus and plus encounters exploration thing, basically like a surveil, right? She's almost like surveilling until she gets the card she wants. Or Hackball getting the card he wants. Are we good with bracket 3 or 4? I would say it's easily yeah. Typal. Where are we saying this bracket here? Say a high 3 is done. Yeah, that's reasonable. A high 3 is pretty good. I wish that I wish that Merfolk could stand in line with goblins and elves. You know, I look forward to that day, but it ain't the same. It just ain't the same. A high 3. Back on topic, it's a 3. Yeah. Yep. All right. And then one more. Adrix and Nev, twin casters, chat. Adrix and Nev, twin casters. So this is blue and a green for a 2/2 Merfolk Wizard. Has Ward 2. Cool. If one or more tokens will be created under your control, twice that many of tokens you control are created instead. Now, in terms of how powerful this card is, Aedric and Nev, like just the abilities on Aedric and Nev are incredibly wantable. You know? Make more tokens, we'll make more of them, you know? It being a 4/4, you know, it is what it is. But, I mean, if someone sits down with an Aedric and Niv commander deck, do you trust that it's going to be fair? That's the thing. Someone came out to a precon to be anything more than first eggplant. What? It's a solid 4. Token generation could be at least a 4. Yeah. Combo with other token doublers. Yeah. Yep. You could. The green ones especially, right? But I feel like Aedric and Nev have a lot of potential, and it gets bigger every time. Every time a new set comes out, you know. Anytime there's a new token maker, then they're just like, all right, well, Aedric and Niv, what can you do here? Tokens in green, that's so mid. That's a 1. Barely even makes tokens. Yeah, I don't know about all that. Aedric and Niv is one of your main decks to personally put it in 4 because of how easily it can pop. Okay. I think a 4. Aedric and Niv, and I'm reaching for Shroom, I guess? Yeah. It's not like squirrels exist. True. Okay, so, chat, we have something here. So, the last cards are all the last cards are tricolor cards, okay? The last cards are tricolor cards. Now, we could continue the stream here for about like another maybe like hour and a half. But I think I would prefer to send us over to the charity stream that's going on right now. I'll be taking part in the charity stream later in the day. But yeah, that's going to be it for us for right now. I do like this. This was fun, and it's actually not too difficult for me to set up. So I would actually really like to do this again, and I think that I'll open this up to polls. You know what I mean? Like, I will open this up to I will open the voting up to just like, okay, give me 2 commanders or whatever from each color, and then we'll do a bracket tier list on them. Okay. That's what this is going to be going forward. I'll try to get more guests on. Rachel Weeks, thank you so much for being the first guest on something like this. This was the first time doing it, and I would say it was a lot of fun, and I hope chat had a lot of fun as well. Tappy Toe Claws is the one hosting this event, so we're gonna go over there. Please do a Tarka next time. Yeah, I mean, listen, there's a lot of cards in Magic. There's a lot of commanders in Magic. Go Redacted. Oh my gosh. Quinn, you know what? I was in talk, like, I had you in mind as I was constructing this in my brain. I want you to know that, okay? Straight up, Quinn. Straight up. Okay, just like my part of my goal of doing this whole thing was partially just like, okay, Quinn, like, I know you and I can just stomp on sort of content like this for sure. Okay, so Empress Quinn, you're gonna be on here for sure. KP, I'd love to have you on as well. Let's go. Chat, thank you so very much. This is something that we will continue. Okay, it'll be all, yeah, the top multi-color. I have 1 card actually per tricolor. Oh no, I have two, so we can go even higher next time. And then eventually I'll just have a big old master list, right? Eventually the master list will just get so big. We didn't put anything in bracket 5s, but I think that's just largely due to our lack of playing bracket 5s. Rachel and I just don't play bracket 5s a lot, but there are definitely, like, I mean, honestly, partner cards would just kind of be automatic 5s. I think honestly, if someone sat down with an Urza, I might just kind of clock that as a 5. I don't know. It is hard to say. It is hard to imagine being at a convention. Someone sits down with a deck, says they have insert non-partner commander here, and it turns out, you know, it's a CEDH deck, and we didn't talk about playing CEDH. You know what I mean? Like the world in which we want to build for Magic players, it's hard to just like imagine someone just not saying that they're playing a CEDH deck in like a CEDH realm. But hey, listen, you know, that's part of the discussion here that we got going on. But Urza, I think, would maybe be like one of my first examples of just like, hey, I don't even like, I have to pull out something that I might consider a bracket 5 to probably like match up with this. But yeah, that'll just be in the future, chat. We will do this again. This was very fun and honestly not very difficult for me to do. Well, okay, I stayed up all last night to do this, but me is good enough to do more of this. All right, chat, we're gonna go over to the charity event. I will be playing in this charity event later at, I want to say, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, so I'll see you in a couple hours actually. Okay, it was a lot of fun. Hell yeah. Is this only for modern CEDH lands? Well, this was for, I mean, general CD, or general commander. But yeah, like modern. It's from our personal experiences from playing Magic in general up to like right now, Otter. So yeah, modern CEDH landscape for sure. If Winota was on here, that would be a bracket 5 automatically, right? I don't trust anyone who sits down at a table and says that their Winota list is like, oh, listen, I just like, it's just what I got on me. I'm clocking it at a 5, right? Like, that's just an auto 5 for me. That's an example of a bracket 5. We'll talk about it, right? We'll talk about it, and maybe we'll figure out it's not actually a 5, but like, that's what I'm clocking first, okay? That's what I'm clocking. All right, chat. Thank you so much. Rachel Weeks, thank you very much for being on. You were amazing. First time guest. Chat, you were amazing. First time chat for this. And let's head over to this charity event. Please donate if you can. And tune in later in the day. 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is, I think, when I'm on. Please tune in for that game. It'll be a lot of fun. All right. Bye, chat. Appreciate you. See you later, Twitch. And YouTube, have